Chapter 351. When the two of them returned to the underground parking lot hand in hand and got in the car, Yang Chung did not start the car immediately. Instead, he turned his head and silently looked at Lin Ruoshi, who was still blushing. Lin Ruoshi's heart was still beating violently, and her breathing was a little rapid. Being stared at by Yang Chung in the dark, her face became hotter and hotter. After more than a minute, Lin Ruoshi finally couldn't help it. "You? Stop looking at me. Hurry up and drive." Yang Chung pretended not to hear anything, and a hopeful smile appeared on his face. "Honey, let's do something memorable, to commemorate that we don't have to divorce and get back together. Oh no, it should be considered that we're really in love." "Who's really in love with you?" Lin Ruoshi was thin-skinned. How could she admit it so straightforwardly? "Didn't you just agree to let me like you?" Yang Chung said with a smile. Lin Ruoshi rolled her eyes at him. "I didn't say that I like you. Why are you so proud?" Yang Chung let out an ah sound and then chuckled. "It's okay. It doesn't matter if you don't say that you like me for the time being. I like you. Come on, sweetheart. How about kissing your husband? It's such a meaningful night. We should do something more meaningful." As Yang Chung spoke, he moved his face closer and aimed his lips at Lin Ruoshi's thin lips. He was about to kiss her. Lin Ruoshi was shocked. She pushed Yang Cheng's head away and shrank her body. "Don't do this. I'll get out of the car if you do this again." Although she had silently admitted that the two of them were in a relationship, she was still a little afraid that Lin Ruoshi would immediately do something intimate with Yang Chung. More importantly, there seemed to be some distance between them, which made her not want to develop to that point so quickly. Lin Ruoshi also felt strange and helpless. Logically speaking, since she had no intention of divorcing this man, and he also loudly said that he liked her, their relationship as husband and wife was set in stone. The problem was that she always felt that something was missing between the two of them. She couldn't abandon everything to fulfill her responsibilities as a wife. As for what it was, she couldn't figure it out. Yang Chung smiled bitterly and said, "It's just a kiss. There's no need to hide from me like this." I don't like it," Lin Ruoshi said. Yang Chung asked playfully, "Don't tell me this is your first kiss?" "No, it shouldn't be. Ruoshi baby, who did you give your first kiss to?" Lin Ruoshi felt a burst of shame and resentment. This guy clearly knew that all of her firsts were given to him, yet he still deliberately asked such a question. It was obvious that he wanted to make her speechless. "I forgot," Lin Ruoshi said bitterly. Yang Chung looked serious. According to the research of scientists, a woman's first kiss is more memorable than her first night. "How could you forget it?" Lin Ruoshi gritted her teeth and then coldly snorted. "You become like you're very knowledgeable. Then let me ask you, do you know why people kiss?" Yang Chung blinked. What else could it be? Of course, it was the most normal thing when love was strong. But at this moment, his strong feelings had long been diluted by Lin Ruoshi's repeated rejections. "You don't know," Lin Ruoshi said with slight pride. In primitive society, humans had already learned to kiss. But at that time, men and women would kiss each other. There was not much reason. It was just to spread the germs between each other and strengthen everyone's resistance. Mothers and children kissed. At the beginning, it was the same reason. It was like a vaccine. Yang Chung opened his mouth wide. There was such a thing? But what did this have to do with me wanting to kiss my wife? Lin Ruoshi continued, "I see that your body is very good, and I'm also very healthy. Things like spreading germs should be avoided if possible." It was a very romantic thing, but after being mentioned by Lin Ruoshi, it became a tasteless business. Yang Cheng's heart was gloomy. He asked gloomily, "Wife, tell me the truth. How do you know about this kind of thing? Do you think the pile of books in my study is for decoration?" Lin Ruoshi chuckled. "What's so good about reading more? If you read more, kissing will spread germs. No wonder women are virtuous without talent. No wonder it's hard for women to get married in this world." Yang Chung sighed with self-reproach. He then started the car and began to go home. Lin Ruoshi secretly breathed a sigh of relief. If Yang Chung had insisted on kissing her just now, she didn't know if she could have avoided it. But on second thought, she did feel sorry for him. After all, they were husband and wife, but she always avoided him. But she couldn't let go of those little knots in her heart. Before she figured out all the reasons, she would just treat it as being willful and selfish for once. Lin Ruashi glanced at Yang Chung apologetically and thought to herself. When they returned home, they found that Mother Wang and Hui Lin were still downstairs. They hadn't gone upstairs to sleep. "Miss, son-in-law, you're back. Is it done?" Mother Wang didn't seem relieved, so she had been waiting for them. "Well, it's almost done," Lin Ruashi replied. "Mother Wang, didn't I tell you many times not to wait for me at night? It's too tiring." "What's so tiring about it?" "Huilin is here to accompany me. We were just talking about when you guys would be coming home and whether we should make a call and you guys arrived," Wang Ma said with a smile. Huilin didn't say anything when she saw Yang Chung. She ran into the kitchen and asked, "Brother Yang, what's wrong?" "I'm looking for food." "I haven't had dinner yet," Yang Chung replied. Mother Wang was stunned. "Why haven't you had dinner yet?" "Son-in-law, let me heat it up for you. There's still food." But before she could take a step, Lin Ruashi said, "Mother Wang, I'll do it. You and Hui Lin can go upstairs to sleep." Mother Wang didn't say anything this time. A strange look flashed across her eyes. Then she smiled and replied, "Okay." Hui Lin thought that the two of them weren't good at cooking, so she said, "Let me help you. Sister Ruashi, I'll cook 2 dishes for you. I'm afraid Brother Yang won't have enough." But before she could finish, Mother Wang pulled Hui Lin's arm. "Miss knows how to cook. She's learned how to cook. Hui Lin, come upstairs with me," Mother Wang said, and kept winking at Hui Lin. Hui Lin immediately understood that Mother Wang wanted to create an opportunity for the two of them to be alone. So, she followed Mother Wang upstairs. However, Hui Lin was extremely puzzled. The two of them had said that they were going to divorce before, and they had been in a Cold War for so many days. Why did Yang Chan want to go to the kitchen to cook dinner so intimately on the first night he came back? And it was the conservative Lin Ruashi who took the initiative to help Yang Chung. Hui Lin didn't know what she was feeling. She was a little happy, a little bitter, and a little envious. In short, looking at the two of them in the kitchen, Hui Lin suddenly didn't know what she was thinking. Before and after the Spring Festival, it was Yu Lei's holiday. So, Lin Ruashi and Yang Chung didn't need to go to work. Of course, if there was anything important, Lin Ruashi would immediately go to the company to deal with it. After a night of ups and downs, bitterness and sweetness, when she went downstairs the next day, Lin Ruashi saw Yang Chung lying on the table, eating porridge and eating buns. She couldn't help but blush. Yang Chung didn't feel much different. He just didn't have to face Lin Ruashi's cold face, and he felt a lot less pressure. As for how to harmonize their relationship in the future, Yang Chung felt that he had to do it step by step. As long as the iron tree didn't bloom, it would be fine. Thinking of this, Yang Chung smiled at Lin Ruashi, who was walking down the stairs. Lin Ruashi held back her laughter and glared at him. "What are you smiling at? Eat your food." Yang Chung almost choked on the bun. It seemed that their relationship didn't improve much. At this moment, the door of the villa opened. Hui Lin, who was wearing a thin, long shirt and sports pants, had just come back from jogging. There were small beads of sweat on her forehead. Because she had been practicing martial arts since young, Hui Lin always felt that she had nowhere to vent her energy after living in a big city. So, jogging in the morning became her favorite way to expend her energy. But this time, when Hui Lin opened the door, she wasn't the only one who walked into the house. Brother Yang and Sister Ruashi are having breakfast. "You're a little early," Hui Lin said to the couple who walked in with a smile. Then, she shouted into the house, "Brother Yang, sister, there are 2 guests who want to give you a New Year's greeting." New Year's greeting? With chopsticks in one hand and a bun in the other, Yang Chung looked up and was surprised. He didn't expect it to be Yuan Yi and Tang Dang, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. Ever since this couple got together, they didn't really contact him. He didn't expect them to come to his house together this morning. Tang Tang, who was wearing a red jacket, seemed to have grown a little taller, and her small appearance looked more and more feminine. When she saw Yang Chun, she happily shouted, "Uncle," and rushed forward. She didn't care that Yang Chun was eating breakfast and directly pounced into Yang Chen's embrace and hugged him tightly. "Uncle, I miss you so much, Tang Tang said with a smile. Why didn't you give me a call or something if you miss me? Yang Cheng said with a frown. Tang Tang stuck out her tongue. I've been busy with my studies. I'll be taking my college entrance examination in the first half of this year. How could I not? My mother has been keeping a tight leash on me. I can't even see Brother Yuan Yi. As soon as she finished speaking, Tang Tang immediately shifted her gaze to Lin Ruoshi, who was only wearing a loose woolen sweater. Her eyes lit up. Big sister, you must be Uncle's wife. You're so beautiful. Lin Ruoshi was unhappy when this lively girl rushed into Yang Cheng's arms. She thought that a mistress was here to challenge her. Who knew that Tang Tang would grab Yang Cheng and call out, Uncle? Later, when she heard Tang Tang say that she was still a high school student, Lin Ruoshi was relieved. She was a junior and a student. She wouldn't be here to have an affair with a married man. However, when she heard Tang Tang call her big sister, Lin Ruoshi couldn't help but smile at Yang Cheng. As expected, Yang Cheng was in a dilemma. He almost squeezed the bun in his hand into dough. At this moment, Yuan Yi placed the two big bags that looked like gifts in a corner, hurriedly walked over, patted Tang Tang's shoulder, and softly said, Tang Tang, why are you calling her elder sister? You call Yang Cheng uncle and call his wife elder sister, then doesn't that mean Yang Cheng married his own daughter? Tang Tang pursed her lips and said indifferently, what does it matter? This sister obviously looks younger than uncle. Uncle, you're an old cow that eats young grass. You're amazing. At this moment, not to mention Lin Ruoshi, even Hui Lin looked at Yang Cheng with a strange smile. She even felt that Yang Cheng was quite pitiful. He had suddenly become an old cow. The corner of Yang Chen's lips curled into a smirk. He took the glass of milk that Wang Ma prepared for him and gulped it down in one gulp. Only then did he feel a little better. Pointing at the door, he shouted at Tang Tang, This brat, you can't even say something pleasing to the ear this early in the morning. Get out. Get out. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you. Chapter 352. Yang Cheng's yelling didn't have any effect at all. Instead, it made Lin Ruoshi, Hui Lin, and Tang Tang look at him with ridicule. Yuan Yi helplessly walked up to Yang Cheng and patted him on the shoulder. Brother Yang, what's there to be angry about? We're of the same generation. If Tang Tang calls you uncle, doesn't that mean she's younger than me? I didn't mind it at all. Oh no, oh no. Yang Cheng didn't feel much about Yuan Yi suddenly calling him brother. He just waved his hand. Seems like I don't have any human rights in this family. You just found out. Lin Ruoshi didn't forget to add insult to injury. She couldn't be bothered with Yang Cheng's gloominess anymore. She asked Yuan Yi, You're the eldest son of the Yuan family, right? Yuan Yi seemed to be a little nervous facing Lin Ruoshi. He smiled shyly and answered, Yes, I'm Yuan Yi. Nice to meet you, General Lin. Lin Ruoshi smiled. You don't have to be so nervous. You're Yang Cheng's friend, which means you're of the same generation as me. You're not my subordinate. Before I came here, I've heard a lot about General Lin. My dad often used General Lin's business operations as a model for me to listen to. Actually, I've always admired General Lin. I'm not good at business, so my dad always preached to me. He always said that if I was half as good as General Lin, he wouldn't have to worry about the rest of his life. Yuan Yi said sincerely. He didn't seem to be spouting nonsense. Lin Ruoshi was slightly surprised. Although she had seen Yuan Hui a few times, including the Liu family's banquet, she didn't expect him to praise her in front of his son. Tang Tang blinked her big eyes, which were filled with starlight. So you're so awesome, big sister. Uncle Yuan rarely praises people. Your father overpraises me. I'm not that powerful. We didn't prepare anything since you came so early. Go sit down on the sofa, and I'll make some tea for you, Lin Ruoshi said, and went to the kitchen to ask Mother Wang for tea leaves and hot water. Since they didn't usually drink tea at home, they didn't always have a water dispenser. They even had to boil some water for guests. After Yuan Yi and Tang Tang sat down, Hui Lin went to the table and started eating breakfast with Yang Cheng. Seeing the angry look on Yang Cheng's face, she smiled and said, Big brother Yang, don't be so petty. Tang Tang is obviously a straightforward girl. Just now, outside the door, she's still. Yang Cheng noticed that Hui Lin was blushing as she spoke. He asked curiously. What do you want to say? Just say it. She even treated me as your wife, Hui Lin said and lowered her head, not daring to look at Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng was stunned. He knew that Hui Lin was thinking about the mission that Abyssinian Miao had given him. That Taoist nun really didn't care about leaving her granddaughter with him. Yang Cheng was also speechless. He smiled at Hui Lin and said, Don't think too much. Let's eat. Do you think I'm the kind of person who would get angry over such a small matter? Oh. Hui Lin felt a little disappointed. When Lin Ruoxi came out with a kettle with Mother Wang to make tea for Yuan Yi and Tang Tang, Yuan Yi suddenly thought of something and asked Lin Ruoxi nervously, That, General Lin, can I, looking at his blushing face, Lin Ruoxi said sweetly, Just say it. I'm not a man-eating monster. The iceberg between her and Yang Cheng had melted. Lin Ruoxi's smile grew wider. That can I call you sister-in-law? Yuan Yi asked with a stiff smile. In fact, before they left, Yuan Ye's mother, Yang Jiu, had told her son to call Yang Cheng big brother when he saw him, and to call Lin Ruoxi sister-in-law. Yuan Yi thought it was weird, but he assumed that his mother wanted him to treat Yang Cheng like an older brother. Moreover, Lin Ruoxi was one of the wealthiest women in Zhonghai, so it wouldn't be a problem for her to be his sister-in-law. Hearing this, Lin Ruoxi immediately blushed, and her heart skipped a beat. She glanced at Yang Cheng, who was eating, and thought to herself, Did that guy ask me to call him Big Brother? On the other hand, Mother Wang was so happy that she couldn't close her mouth. Young Master Yuan, why can't you call him that? That's so intimate. He really? Yuan Yi touched the back of his head in a silly manner. Then I'll call you sister-in-law from now on. This matter seemed to be settled just like that. Hearing this, Tang Tang murmured to herself. Then she smiled and followed Yuan Ye's example, calling Lin Ruoxi sister-in-law sweetly. This time, Lin Ruoxi had the urge to run out of the door. In front of two guests, she blushed all the way to her ears. Her heart was both embarrassed and a little happy. She couldn't explain it clearly, but in a daze, she seemed to like it very much. Yang Cheng, who was eating breakfast, subconsciously thought of something when he heard Yuan Yi call him sister-in-law. His brows furrowed a little, but he didn't say anything and continued to eat. Yuan Yi and Tang Tang immediately became friendly with Lin Ruoxi, as if they had really become a family. Their sister-in-law chatted with her brother and sister-in-law, asking them what they usually did, how they got to know Yang Cheng, and how their families were like. Lin Ruoxi didn't have many friends to begin with. Suddenly, there were two children of the same generation who called her sister-in-law, and they were very intimate. She couldn't help but feel a little more excited. When Mother Wang saw this, she smiled contentedly and went back to the kitchen to continue preparing food. It seemed that she was planning to let Yuan Yi and Tang Tang stay at home for lunch. When Yang Cheng saw that Lin Ruoxi was just sitting there and chatting with the two little fellows, he called out and asked, Wifey, aren't you eating breakfast? Lin Ruoxi was having an interesting conversation with Tang Tang, so she casually replied, You eat it yourself. Yang Cheng rolled his eyes. It's only been one night, and I've been thrown into the cold palace again. However, before he could open his mouth to eat a bun, the doorbell rang again. Yang Cheng took a deep breath. It can't be. So strange. Is someone here to pay a New Year visit again? Looking at Yuan Yi and Tang Tang, who were at a loss, Yang Chen asked, Did you guys collude with someone else to intentionally disturb my breakfast? Big brother, when not that bored. Yuan Yi smiled bitterly. Hui Lin stood up. I'll go open the door, she said, and ran to the door to open it. However, the moment she opened the door, Hui Lin seemed to be frozen on the spot, as if she had seen something extremely shocking. She was so stunned that she couldn't say a word. The crowd followed his gaze and saw a tall, muscular man in a tight black leather outfit, with a handsome face, short black hair, and fair skin, walking into the room. The man's gaze was extremely focused, as if his gaze could penetrate anyone's soul and was irresistible. His entire person was like a peerless famous sword, dazzling the eyes of everyone. What made everyone in the house even more surprised was that the cold and elegant woman with long hair in a light-colored windbreaker, Kai Ning, followed behind the man and walked into the house. She looked at everyone helplessly. I'm sorry, I couldn't stop him from coming here to look for Hui Lin, Kai Ning said. Everyone present recognized Kai Ning. They knew that she was the eldest daughter of the Kai family and had a high status. Who was this man? How could he make her say that she couldn't stop him? Why are you here? Hui Lin looked at the handsome young man and finally spat out a few words and said faintly. The man's eyes were burning with passion. Huier, why are you here? What does my whereabouts have to do with you? After Hui Lin finished speaking, she seemed to not want to see this man and turned to run away. But the man's hand moved like lightning and grabbed Hui Lin's arm. Huier, I won't let you leave me again. Yang Lai, why do you have to control me? Hui Lin seemed to be angry as well. She exerted more strength in her hand, as if she was trying to break free from Yang Lai's restraint. However, Yang Lai's hand was like a tiger's mouth. No matter how hard Hui Lin tried, she couldn't break free. One should know that Hui Lin had been practicing martial arts since she was young. Even though she wasn't proficient in it, she was still a true disciple of Abbess Yin Miao. Even if there were dozens of ordinary men, they wouldn't be able to defeat a woman like her. However, this strength was nothing in Yang Lai's hands. You're the woman that Yang Lai, like. Of course I have to control you, Yang Lai said in an extremely domineering manner. He then turned to look at the others, as if he was the creator looking down at all the living beings in front of him. I don't care who you are. What does this have to do with my Huier? I have to bring her away from here today, Yang Lai said, intending to leave with Hui Lin immediately. Hui Lin knew that she couldn't break free. She turned her head and looked at Yang Cheng, who was holding a bowl at the side of the table. Her eyes were filled with sorrow and anxiety, making her look so pitiful. Yang Cheng sighed in his heart. Initially, he had a weird feeling about this guy named Yang Lai. However, he didn't have the time to think about other things now. After all, he had a good relationship with Hui Lin. Moreover, she was blood-related to Lin Ruoshi. How could he allow her to be taken away by a man who liked her? If this happened to Lin Ruoshi, wouldn't most men on the streets want to take her away? Let go of Hui Lin, Yang Cheng said to Yang Lai, who was about to leave. Yang Lai stopped in his tracks and turned to look at Yang Cheng. On the other hand, Hui Lin's face lit up. She knew that although she wasn't a match for Yang Lai, Yang Cheng was definitely in existence who could suppress everything. What? Yang Lai sneered. Yang Cheng put down his bowl and chopsticks, stood up and frowned. You think you're so powerful that no one can stop you from doing what you want to do, right? Isn't it? Before Yang Lai could finish his sentence, Yang Lai suddenly felt a huge pressure sweeping through his blood vessels. The terrifying pressure even caused the qi in his body to become chaotic. This is before he could think about it. Yang Lai released Hui Lin's hand almost instinctively. He gathered all the strength in his body and slapped forward. However, the result was that he was completely powerless. He only felt a seemingly gentle force brushing past his body. Unknowingly, Yang Lai's body was pushed out of the door by a mass of air. Yang Lai turned a few laps in a row to remove the strength on his body. Cold sweat dripped from his forehead. He suddenly raised his head and looked at the man who had already protected Huilin behind him. He didn't know when he had stood in his original position. Yang Cheng's endless resolve restoration scripture had reached stage 9 great completion. He was no longer the same as before. His terrifying strength stunned Kai Ning. Although she didn't know how strong Yang Cheng was, she could clearly feel that he was much stronger than when she saw him in action before. However, Kai Ning was finally convinced that Yang Lai was stronger than her. If it was her, she wouldn't have been able to remove the surging force with just a few rounds. Unfortunately, so what? Facing this man who was known as a god, it seemed like he could only look up to him forever. Who are you? How can there be someone like you in Zhonghai? Yang Lai seemed to be in disbelief. He turned to the silent Kai Ning and asked, Flower Rain, this guy, who is he? He's the one that you think is undeserving and unworthy. Kai Ning replied faintly. Yang Lai squinted his eyes. So, it's you? I heard that you did a lot of things for the dragon team in Tibet. Sky Dragon said that you were very powerful. It seems that you are indeed capable. Yang Chun was a little surprised. This Yang Lai seemed to be aware of the huge difference in power between them. but he didn't seem to be afraid of Yang Chun. Yang Chun didn't understand if he was blindly arrogant or had something else to rely on. Chapter 353. The fight at the entrance had attracted Lin Ruoshi and the others to Yang Cheng's side. They were relieved when they saw that Hui Lin was fine. They looked at Yang Lai, who was still glaring at them. However, when Yuan Yi saw Yang Lai up close, he felt that he looked familiar. When he recalled how Hui Lin called him Yang Lai, Yuan Yi became even more suspicious. Yang Cheng, you better mind your own business. This is between me and Lin Hui. Don't interfere, Yang Lai said domineeringly. Her grandma asked me to take care of her, so I have to take care of her. As for whether you like her or not, it has nothing to do with me. I only saw that she didn't want to leave with you and asked me for help. I have no reason not to help her. So, if you really want to do something, just do it. Don't waste your breath on me. Yang Cheng was a little impatient. This young man looked a few years younger than him, but the way he spoke made him sound like a superior. Yang Lai scoffed. Do you think I don't dare to? Do you think I'll be afraid of you just because you're stronger than me? Let me tell you, there are many powerful people in this world that you'll never meet in your entire life. Your strength is nothing in my eyes. In a few years, I'll be a few times stronger than you. You better keep your hands clean. Don't beg for mercy when the time comes. Do you think I don't know that you have bad intentions toward Huier? Otherwise, why would you attack her and force her to stay in your house for no reason? She has nothing to do with you. Do you think I'm a fool? His words made Yang Cheng angry. Yang Cheng was not interested in the powerful people that Yang Lai mentioned that he had never met before. Yang Cheng only knew that this kid was not very smart. Don't you know how to lower your head when you're under someone else's roof? Do you believe that if you say another word, I will make you disappear from this world? Yang Cheng already had the intention to kill. Even if he really didn't like killing people, it would be a disaster to keep such an arrogant and rude young man alive. Hearing what Yang Cheng said, Kaining immediately frowned and said, Yang Cheng, don't mess around. He just doesn't understand the situation. That's right, Brother Yang. Just chase him away. Don't kill him. Hui Lin knew the difference in strength between Yang Cheng and Yang Lai. If Yang Cheng said that he wanted to kill Yang Lai, there was no way to save Yang Lai. However, Yang Lai didn't seem to be afraid at all. He laughed loudly and said, You think I don't dare? You've shown your true colors now, and I've pointed out your malicious intentions towards Huier, haven't I? Huier's mind is pure and innocent. She was bewitched by you. You're an ugly creature that lives in the dark. Without waiting for Yang Lai to continue speaking, Yang Cheng's figure instantly appeared in front of him. Yang Cheng's face was gloomy, like a dark cloud in the middle of a thunderstorm. His entire body was like an overwhelming force, oppressing Yang Lai. You deserve to die. Just as he finished speaking, Yang Cheng's palm had already landed on Yang Lai's chest. Yang Lai didn't expect that once Yang Cheng got serious, his speed wouldn't give Yang Lai any time to react. With such a huge disparity in strength, when Yang Cheng's palm landed on Yang Lai's chest, he still had an arrogant smile on his face. Bam! With a muffled sound, Yang Lai's body flew out 7 to 8 meters like a kite with a broken string, tumbling a few times before landing on grass. In reality, how could Yang Cheng's strength only allow him to fly such a short distance? It was only because Yang Cheng's internal energy had entered Yang Lai's body that Yang Lai's body was only able to fly such a short distance. But it was already extremely shocking. Yang Lai violently spat out a mouthful of extravasated blood. With his eyes wide open, he raised his trembling finger and pointed at Yang Cheng in disbelief. You dare. Yang Lai was already unable to complete his sentence. He discovered that his internal organs felt as if they were being exploded by countless miniature bombs. His meridians were filled with chaotic energy, shaking his internal energy to the point that he was like a mouse that was fleeing in all directions, unable to withstand a single blow. Yang Cheng's eyes were as cold as ice, and his entire body seemed to be immersed in darkness. Even though it was bright outside the house, Yang Cheng's surroundings seemed to be a dark area. Oh, your body seems to be very tough. You actually managed to block my palm and didn't die. Yang Cheng sneered as he walked closer to Yang Lai. Kai Ning turned pale with fright. She didn't expect Yang Chung to hit her just like that. If that palm had landed on her body, Kai Ning believed that 3 of her would have been killed. However, Yang Lai actually didn't die. There was indeed a huge difference in power between them, but she absolutely couldn't let him die. Kai Ning hurriedly ran in front of Yang Chung and blocked Yang Chung from approaching. Her cold and elegant face was filled with anxiety. Yang Chung, that's enough. You can't kill him. Something bad will happen. At the door, Lin Ruoshi and the rest who saw Yang Cheng's sudden outburst were also dumbfounded, especially Yuan Yi and Tang Dang. Although they knew that Yang Cheng's kung fu was good, they didn't expect him to be this strong. Lin Ruoshi didn't say a word, but her face was pale. She didn't pay much attention to whether Yang Cheng was going to kill someone. However, she just heard Yang Lai call Hui Lin. Hui Lin. Lin Ruoshi quietly looked at the anxious Hui Lin and fell into deep thought. Get out of my way. Yang Cheng looked at Kai Ning indifferently. You know you can't stop me. Kai Ning gritted her teeth. Her eyes were filled with determination, but also a little pleading. Yang Cheng, don't do this. He really can't die. Why? Yang Cheng sneered. His background isn't ordinary. If something happens to him, what can I do? Who could do anything to me? Yang Cheng laughed. I've already tolerated him, but he still offended me. First, he was rude, then ignorant, and now he's stupid. What's the point of keeping him alive? Yang Lai, who was lying on the grass, had never been insulted like this before. He was so angry that he spat another mouthful of blood on the grass. He pointed at Yang Cheng and opened his mouth. You dare to scold me. Kai Ning's face turned green. Kai Ning's face turned green. How could this guy not know the situation? Was he really an idiot? Sure enough, Yang Cheng didn't waste any more words. He swept his hand in front of Kai Ning, and she was slapped to the side. Yang Cheng took a step forward and arrived in front of Yang Lai. He looked down at the resentful Yang Lai. I like the look in your eyes. I'll feel good after I kill you, Yang Cheng said and kicked Yang Lai's head. However, halfway through the kick, Yang Cheng furrowed his brows and turned his body in an instant, kicking the air with his leg. Bang! There was a loud bang, as if a bomb had exploded in midair. A greenish-gray figure suddenly appeared in midair. Its leg collided with Yang Cheng's. Then it somersaulted in midair and landed behind Yang Lai. The greenish-gray figure pulled Yang Lai away and protected him behind him. Only then did everyone see who it was. It was an old man dressed in a green robe. His black hair had some streaks of white, but his complexion was rosy and his skin was smooth. It was hard to tell his exact age, but his expression was extremely solemn at this moment. He stared at Yang Chun, who remained unmoved, as if he was facing a formidable enemy. Kai Ning was stunned when she saw the person. Then, she thought of something and let out a sigh of relief. She couldn't help but think, with his senior skills, he might be able to stop this killing god. Master! Yang Lai coughed up blood. When he saw the person, his pale face immediately showed a hint of joy. The old man bent down and hit a few important acupuncture points on Yang Lai's body. Then, he stood up and continued to face Yang Cheng. Young man, let people go when possible. My disciple is so young, but you hit him so hard. Don't you have any virtue? The old man asked with a frown. Yang Chen looked at the old man with great interest. Just now, he suddenly felt a huge force attacking him. Although he could resist it, he was more or less injured, which was why he clashed with the old man first. Yang Chen didn't expect that he would have the opportunity to meet someone who could fight with him. He sneered, "He is young, and I am not old. If he didn't provoke me again and again, I wouldn't have made a move. So he's your disciple. Don't you think that you should discipline him first before saying these words to me? My disciple is in the wrong, but you're too ruthless." The old man's eyes glowed brightly. According to my observation, your cultivation has already attained the perfection stage of the congenital realm, and such a cultivation is something even I'm inferior to. I don't know how you have such skills at such a young age. However, with great power comes great responsibility. With your ability, why do you have to be calculated with my disciple? Hearing this, Yang Cheng didn't care. Kai Ning and Yang Lai were shocked. Kai Ning didn't expect that Yang Cheng had reached the legendary Xiantian full circle. No wonder he was so strong. Yang Lai was unwilling to hear that even his master wasn't a match for this man. He originally thought that his master would be stronger than Yang Cheng. But the old man's words shattered his dream. He finally realized that he might really die in the hands of Yang Cheng. Old man, don't think that I can't kill you just because you can take a kick from me. Let me tell you, your disciple has provoked me. If you continue to talk nonsense, I will kill you too. When Yang Cheng saw that the old man was using logic, he immediately lost his patience. If you want to fight, then fight. If you want to save someone, then save him. What's the point of talking so much nonsense? There was no fairness in this world. In the end, strength would always come from one's fists. There would never be any ethics or morality. Whoever believed that everything had to be reasonable and that God was fair, whoever believed that was stupid. But at this moment, Yuan Yi, who had been observing Yang Lai and suspecting something, suddenly ran out. He came in front of Yang Lai and asked hesitantly, "You are the Yang family's cousin Yang Lai?" Chapter 354. Yuan Ye's sudden appearance and simple question caused Yang Cheng's murderous aura to dissipate. He suddenly thought of something and frowned as he looked at Yang Lai, who was gasping for breath. Yang Lai also frowned and looked at Yuan Yi carefully. I'm Yuan Yi. We met when we were kids." Yuan Yi pointed at himself, a little excited, but the current situation made him unable to smile. "You are Aunt's son?" Yang Lai seemed to have thought of something and asked suspiciously. "Yeah, my mom is Yang Ji. I was wondering why it sounded so familiar, and you look like uncle. So it's cousin. But we haven't seen each other for so many years, I couldn't recognize you and I couldn't think straight." Yuan Yi turned around awkwardly and said to Yang Cheng, "Big brother, can you give me some face? He is my cousin. Please don't kill him. I heard that he went to find a master to learn martial arts at a young age, so he might not know you that well." "He's enough now." Yang Cheng was shocked. Although his expression didn't change much, the moment Yang Lai admitted it, Yang Cheng's murderous aura had long been washed away. A negative emotion of sorrow and loneliness made his heart feel cold. Even without thinking too much, Yang Cheng more or less understood why he had such a strange instinctive feeling when he saw this young man. Yang Cheng looked at the unwilling Yang Lai on the ground with a complicated expression, then looked at the vigilant old man and let out a long sigh. "Let's go, I won't kill you for the sake of this little brother of mine." Yang Cheng's letting go made Kai Ning, who was at the side, look surprised. She knew that this guy wouldn't give a damn when he made a move, but Yuan Yi actually had the face to stop Yang Cheng from killing people? This was too unusual. However, since Yang Lai did not have to die, Kai Ning heaved a sigh of relief. After all, the Kai family was still too weak compared to the Yang family. If something happened to Yang Lai in Zhonghai, and it was the Kai family who brought him here, the Kai family would definitely not be able to escape the blame. Moreover, they would not even have a place to cry to. The elder squinted his eyes. He was also slightly surprised by the speed at which Yang Cheng's murderous aura dissipated. However, he was still relieved that there was no need for him to fight with Yang Cheng. He thought that Yang Cheng was being kind. He cupped his fists and said, "I'm Yu Jizi of Kunlun. Thank you for letting me go." After he finished speaking, Yu Jizi turned around and helped Yang Lai, who was in a daze and couldn't move at all. With a leap, they left the villa district. His Qigong was indeed at the peak. Even Yang Cheng might not be able to defeat him in the air. If he didn't save Yang Lai and just ran away, Yang Cheng wouldn't be able to do anything to him. At this moment, a figure flashed. Even though he was carrying someone, Yu Jizi disappeared in an instant. Kai Ning glanced at Yang Cheng, nodded her head, and said, "Thank you." Then, she left the scene as well. To Yuan Yi and Tang Dang, such a bizarre thing happened so early in the morning. It was as if they were in a dream. Fortunately, Yang Cheng had shown his skills before, so they didn't faint from the shock. Hui Lin looked depressed. At the same time, Hui Lin noticed that Lin Ruoshi kept looking at her strangely. Although she didn't express any feelings directly, Hui Lin had a feeling that Lin Ruoshi knew something. Yang Cheng wasn't in the mood to stay at home anymore. He walked to the door and said to Lin Ruoshi, "Ruoshi, I'm going out for a ride." You take care of Yuan Yi and the rest." Lin Ruoshi was slightly startled. She rarely saw Yang Cheng so solemn. She didn't know how to react and even felt a little heartache. However, she still nodded her head meekly. "I understand. Come back early. I'll be waiting for you for lunch." Yang Cheng responded and walked to the garage to get his car. Then, he drove away from the villa. He needed some time alone to calm down. His mind was in a mess. The feeling of love and hate made him feel like he was being tormented. There are many things that when you think about it, and when you actually meet it, there's a world of difference. Just like when he met Yang Jiu in the cafe, Yang Cheng couldn't look at things rationally. He had tried so hard to forget things that he didn't feel belonged to him. After Yang Cheng left, the atmosphere in the house became a little awkward. Yuan Yi and Tang Ding didn't expect that their New Year's greeting would turn into such a scene. Fortunately, Yang Lai was Yuan Ye's cousin who he hadn't seen for many years. Otherwise, blood would have been spilled all over the place, and they wouldn't have a good ending. However, the matter was temporarily put aside, but the problem still remained. At the very least, everyone, including Yuan Yi, felt strange that Yang Lai liked Hui Lin. Yang Lai wasn't an ordinary person, but what about Hui Lin? Especially, although Lin Ruoshi didn't have much contact with the Yuan family. She knew that the reason why the Yuan family was the top family in Zhonghai was largely due to Yuan Ye's mother, Yang Jiu, who was from the Yang family in Beijing. Since Yang Lai was Yuan Ye's cousin, he was from the top family in Huaxia, the Yang family. Without a doubt, he was very capable and had such a domineering master. Although his master could barely exchange a few blows with Yang Cheng, it was all because of his extraordinary family background. Why would such a man from an extraordinary family come here to look for Yang Cheng's cousin, the seemingly ordinary Hui Lin? Although Hui Lin was also a rare beauty, standing next to Lin Ruoshi, she seemed like a foil. At most, she could be considered as beautiful. It was almost impossible for a man to be infatuated with her, especially one from a wealthy family like Yang Lai. What kind of beauty hadn't he seen before? Even when he saw Lin Ruoshi, he didn't seem excited at all. Therefore, Yuan Yi couldn't help but ask Hui Lin, "Miss Hui Lin, how did you know my cousin? I heard that my cousin went to learn martial arts from a very young age. He should be that Taoist priest Yujizi. Are you also a disciple of a master from Kunlun sect?" Hui Lin's face turned pale. She was innocent and naive. She didn't expect that Yang Lai would come to look for her. Now she was exposed. As expected, after Yuan Yi finished asking, Lin Ruoshi looked over coldly. After all, she was the CEO of a multinational company with tens of thousands of employees. She was a person who gave others pressure. Now that she was looking at Hui Lin seriously, Hui Lin's face turned bitter. I didn't mean to. Hui Lin didn't know what to say. She wasn't good at lying. Now that she said that she was Yang Cheng's cousin, it was someone else who said it for her. It was hard for her to hide it. She didn't know how to cover up her lie. "Forget it, don't say it. This isn't a problem." Lin Ruoshi suddenly spoke. She made eye contact with Hui Lin. "Hui Lin, go and help Mother Wang cook. Yuan Yi and Tang Tang, stay for lunch." Hui Lin was stunned. She didn't expect Lin Ruoshi to let her go so easily, and even helped her to change the topic. But why didn't she ask about her identity as Hui Lin? Regardless of the reason, Hui Lin nodded immediately and ran to the kitchen. Yuan Yi didn't have to ask about it. Since she didn't want to talk about it, and she wasn't the woman he liked, he couldn't be bothered to ask. Hui Lin ran to the kitchen and felt slightly relieved. She helped Mother Wang wash and cut the vegetables, but her mind kept drifting to the living room. She really couldn't figure out what Lin Ruoshi was thinking. With her intelligence, there was no way she couldn't figure out the problem. Moreover, the look in her eyes just now was enough to prove that she knew something. It was all that damned Yang Lai's fault. It turned out that Hui Lin's sect, Mauname, and Yang Lai's sect, Kunlun, were ancient sects that had relations. In addition, Hui Lin's Lin family had some relations with the Yang family. Although the Lin family wasn't as powerful as the Yang family, they were a good match. When Yang Lai first met Hui Lin, it was the first awakening of love in his youth. He immediately fell in love with her at first sight, and had always been overbearing that Huilin would inevitably become his wife. However, Huilin didn't like Yang Lai, who was arrogant because he was talented, had a rich family background, and was a Xiantian realm master as his master. That was why the scene just now happened. While Huilin was busy thinking, Lin Ruoxi came into the kitchen after chatting with Yuan Yi and the others for a while. Lin Ruoxi came in to get some dried fruits for the guests. When she saw Lin Ruoxi, Huilin immediately wanted to explain. "Sister, I actually say no more." Lin Ruoxi looked at her quietly. "You don't have to say anything. I don't know anything. You're Yang Cheng's cousin, so you're also my cousin, right?" Looking at Lin Ruoxi's suppressed emotions, Huilin suddenly felt a sour feeling in her heart. She bit her thin lips and nodded. "Yes." Lin Ruoxi forced a smile, took the dried fruits, and walked out of the kitchen. Huilin stood there in a daze. She couldn't calm down no matter what. Her eyes were slightly red, but she forced herself not to cry. Chapter 355. When it was almost lunchtime, Yang Cheng returned home on time. There was no longer a heavy expression on his face. He looked very relaxed, as if he had already adjusted his emotions. Seeing that Yuan Yi and Tang Dang were still sitting at the dining table, Yang Cheng looked at the couple with disdain. "I told you guys to stay for lunch, and you guys really stayed. I was just being polite, and you guys took it seriously?" Tang Tang felt that Yang Cheng had returned to his usual undisciplined self. She pointed her middle finger at him. "I heard from sister-in-law that this house belongs to her, not uncle." "Uncle, you're the one who lives off a woman." Yang Cheng broke out in a cold sweat. He looked at Lin Ruoxi, who was moving the dishes out of the kitchen bitterly. "Wife, you can't reveal everything. I don't have any human rights in this house." Lin Ruoxi saw that Yang Cheng had returned safely and started joking again. Her heart was relieved, but she ignored him. She turned around and went back to the kitchen to continue carrying the dishes. "Uncle, look, sister-in-law doesn't even want to talk to you." Tang Tang stuck out her tongue at Yang Cheng and said. Yang Cheng felt a wave of bitterness. As a husband, his welfare needed to be improved. Everyone sat down to eat. The atmosphere was harmonious. Mother Wang seemed especially excited, especially when she heard Yuan Yi and Tang Dang call Lin Ruoxi sister-in-law. Mother Wang's eyes narrowed into crescent moons. "Big brother, I have a request," Yuan Yi suddenly said to Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng was eating in big mouthfuls. He nodded at him and asked him to speak. "Can you teach me martial arts?" Yang Cheng was about to spit out a mouthful of rice to express his shock, but the moment he was about to spit it out, he was met with Lin Ruoxi's cold gaze, and he immediately choked again. I say, you should just play your esports. Fighting isn't suitable for you," Yang Cheng said. "If you want to deal with some hooligans, just learn some boxing or something. I won't teach you martial arts." "But big brother, you know martial arts. That person was so strong just now, and he said he couldn't beat you. If I were to learn from you, wouldn't I be super strong too?" Yuan Yi said excitedly. Yang Cheng put down his bowl and chopsticks and looked at Yuan Yi sternly. "I don't know kung fu. Big brother, stop joking." Everyone saw it. Yuan Yi thought that Yang Cheng was unwilling to teach. "I don't know kung fu, but I know how to kill people. Do you want to learn how to kill people?" Yang Cheng asked. Yuan Yi was stunned, and the other four women at the table also stopped what they were doing. Lin Ruoxi looked at Yang Cheng reproachfully. Yang Cheng's words scared Yuan Yi silly. Yuan Yi looked troubled for a while, and finally shook his head. "Forget it. I don't think I can't stand it. Don't think that I'm stingy. There's nothing to be stingy about, but when I teach people, I'm at least at the level of training special forces. You don't have that foundation, so don't learn it," Yang Cheng said. In fact, Yang Cheng also had the endless resolve restoration scripture, an inner force skill that could be taught, but Song Tianxing didn't say whether it could be taught to others. Therefore, Yang Cheng showed respect to the deceased and his teacher, and would not easily teach others such martial arts. What's more, this martial art could only be practiced so smoothly by people with a special physique like him. It was estimated that it was extremely difficult for ordinary people to practice the first level. Yuan Yi didn't care too much. Although he felt it was a pity, he didn't go to the extent of arguing with Yang Cheng and thinking that he was hiding it. Then, he chatted casually. When they were about to finish eating, Tang Tang suddenly suggested, "Sister-in-law, Uncle, let's go outside to KTV in the afternoon, okay? Anyway, everyone is on holiday. Let's go out and play together." KTV? Lin Ruashi frowned. "I haven't been there before." "No way." Tang Tang looked shocked, as if she had seen an alien creature. "Sister-in-law, you're the president of a big company, and you haven't been to KTV before?" Lin Ruashi's face was slightly red, and she nodded. Yang Cheng didn't feel strange. He felt that Tong Tong's proposal might be a good way to help him and Lin Ruashi improve their relationship. So he agreed. "Let's go. We'll go after resting for a while. Our Yuan family has a KTV with good decoration and conditions in all aspects. When the time comes, I will take you guys there and apply for a platinum card. Next time, you can go for free." Yuan Yi said with a smile, "I don't mean anything else. Just treat it as filial piety to the elders." Yang Cheng snorted. "The more you say, the older you get." When Lin Ruashi heard that Yang Cheng had agreed, she was actually a little moved. She turned to Hui Lin and said, "Sister, you should go too." Hui Lin had been feeling a little depressed. When she heard that Lin Ruashi suddenly invited her, she almost dropped her bowl. "I can go too. Of course, we'll go together as a family. You're our family too, aren't you?" Lin Ruashi said. Hui Lin's heart ached. She wasn't sure if Lin Ruashi was 100% certain about their relationship, but when Lin Ruashi mentioned family, she felt guilty. She had been lying to her all along. Although it wasn't malicious, from her perspective, it made Hui Lin feel very embarrassed that she was so tolerant of her. Okay, Hui Lin agreed. She knew that Lin Ruashi needed company, although she had never been to a KTV before. After dinner, they rested for a while. Lin Ruashi and Hui Lin put on their jackets and left the house. Lin Ruashi's car was still in the process of changing its tires, so she got into Yang Cheng's car and followed Yuan Ye's R8 to the Yuan family's Yuan Meng KTV. In the car, Yang Cheng said to Lin Ruashi while driving, "Honey, do you know where I was just now?" Lin Ruashi glanced at him. "I don't want to know." Yang Cheng smacked his lips. "Ah, you're so uncooperative. I went to look for Jinxiu." "Jinxiu?" Lin Ruashi finally became interested. "How is she doing?" Yang Cheng nodded. "I asked her to sign up for the National Higher Education Entrance Examination this summer. I want to take a look today, and there were a lot of books in her room. It seems like she's serious." Lin Ruashi looked at Yang Cheng with satisfaction. "Finally, I did something good." Yang Cheng was depressed. When did he do something bad? Although Hui Lin knew about Jinxiu, she didn't care much about her. But when she saw Yang Cheng's bitter face, she found it quite funny. When the five of them arrived at the KTV, Yuan Ming's general manager had already rushed out to welcome them. Yuan Yi had called him, and it turned out that the young master and Yu Lei International CEO were here to have fun. As if he had eaten gold carrots, he immediately got people to empty the largest private room and picked two of the best-looking waiters to help serve them. "Young master, what brings you here?" the general manager asked with a flattering smile. Yuan Yi pointed at Yang Cheng and Lin Ruashi beside him. "My brother and sister-in-law happen to be free today, so we came to have some fun." "Manager, don't do anything unnecessary. Just continue working. We don't like trouble." The general manager stole a glance at Lin Ruashi and suddenly realized that she was the CEO of Yu Lei International. He was slightly stunned, but quickly nodded in agreement. After entering the meticulously prepared, extra-large private room, a large number of fruit platters and snacks were already placed on the table. Under the lead of Tang Tang, the lively cell, the atmosphere immediately heated up. Tang Tang held the microphone and sang a passionate, fast-paced song. Following that, she dragged Yuan Yi along to sing a lip-synced love song. Yuan Yi's singing was a little out of tune, but at least it was audible. The two of them sang the song Sometimes I Love quite well, relaxed and natural. After 2 consecutive songs, Yang Cheng and Hui Lin clapped their hands in encouragement. Lin Ruashi's expression was slightly unnatural, as if she had seen something that made her nervous. "Uncle, do you want to sing a song?" Tang Tang passed the microphone to Yang Cheng. Yang Chung took the microphone and placed it in front of Lin Ruoshi. Ladies first. Lin Ruoshi hurriedly returned the microphone to Yang Chung. You sing first. Who asked you to give way? Yang Chung helplessly picked up the microphone and said to Yuan Yi, Kid, help me choose a song. Choose what song? Yuan Yi asked. Choose a song that you know and think is good. Any song. Yang Chung said. Lin Ruoshi looked at him suspiciously. Don't brag. What if you don't know how to sing it? Haha, I can sing all the songs that the kid knows. Yang Chung said proudly. Yuan Yi did not believe him. After thinking for a while, he picked a younger song, Rolling in the Deep. It was a famous song by Adele, a Grammy Award winner for Best Pop Singer. Because of its unique voice, many people could not sing it well even if they wanted to. Hui Lin, on the other hand, was enjoying it. She was a fan of music and singing, and she was excited by the things in the KTV. When she saw Yang Chung was going to sing, she was full of anticipation. Following the melody, Yang Chung opened his mouth and started singing. His slightly hoarse voice matched the style of the song. There's a fire starting in my heart reaching a fever pitch, and it's bringing me out the dark. We could have had it all rolling in the deep. You had my heart inside your hands. The leisurely and explosive voice filled the entire room with a kind of free and unrestrained emotion. Yang Chun even used a pure British-American accent, which was exceptionally unruly. Yuan Yi and Tang Dang were fascinated by the song. Hui Lin looked surprised. Only Lin Ruoshi looked more nervous. She clenched her fists and trembled slightly. When Yang Chung finished singing, he handed the microphone to Lin Ruoshi with a smile. Honey, it's your turn. When Lin Ruoshi saw this, she quickly passed the microphone to Huilin and said, Sister, you sing first. Huilin blinked. Although she wanted to sing, she did not expect that Lin Ruoshi would let her sing again. Looking at Lin Ruoshi's serious and anxious face, Huilin took the microphone and stood up. Chapter 356. Huilin didn't know how to use the equipment in the KTV, so she blushed and asked Tang Dang to help her choose a song. Sister Huilin, what song do you want? Huilin pursed her lips shyly. I don't know how to sing new songs. Can I sing an old one? Tang Tang nodded her head. Sure, it's an old classic. It sounds good. I want Yi Qianwen's Possibility of Love. Huilin said. Tang Tang quickly chose the song and looked at Huilin curiously. Yuan Yi had never heard of this song before, so he was also looking forward to it. Huilin's voice was highly praised by the famous musicians in Yulei Entertainment. Since she was a singer with great potential, it was not difficult for her to sing the song she liked. You appear by my side like a miracle. I didn't expect it to be you. Made me lose my soul, the feeling in my heart. Because you have your life, and I have my journey. There are people waiting for you in front of you. You'll cry, laugh, love, and be sad. A classic love song was performed by Hui Lin vividly. Hui Lin's voice was especially delicate and beautiful, which made it even more fascinating. After waiting for one song, Tong Tong's little hands turned red from clapping so hard. Hui Lin smiled shyly and passed the microphone to Lin Ruoshi. Sister, sing a song for me. There was no smile on Lin Ruoshi's face. She looked a little bitter, but she couldn't say that she didn't sing since everyone else had finished. Wifey, don't tell me you're scared of singing? Yang Chen noticed that Lin Ruoshi didn't seem to want to sing. Was she shy? Lin Ruoshi rolled her eyes at Yang Chung angrily and picked up the microphone. Why wouldn't I dare? It's just singing. After saying that, Lin Ruoshi stood up, walked to the display, and began to choose a song. However, after 5 minutes, Lin Ruoshi was still choosing, unsure of what to sing. Why don't we choose Two Tigers? Yang Chung joked. Lin Ruoshi glared fiercely at Yang Chung, mainly because she really had the urge to choose Two Tigers. Of course, Lin Ruoshi wouldn't do something so stupid. So, after thinking for a long time, Lin Ruoshi chose Mo One Way's Cloudy Sky. The song itself was not difficult to sing, but Mo One Way's special singing style made the song particularly moving. Yang Chung had never heard Lin Ruoshi sing. After all, she was a woman who rarely spoke. How could she sing for him? Lin Ruashi's back was facing everyone. Her forehead was covered in sweat, and her hands were covered in cold sweat. Her body was stiff, and her expression was full of melancholy. When the lyrics started to turn red, Lin Ruashi gritted her teeth and began to sing, "Cloudy Sky." In a person's room, the moment Lin Ruashi finished singing the first line of the lyrics, the other four people in the room all revealed a horrified expression. This was because Lin Ruashi's first line was not sung correctly. It was like getting a person to score 0 in an exam was actually more difficult than getting full marks. It was much more difficult to sing every word of a song crooked than to sing every word correctly. However, Lin Ruashi did it, and she sang every word in a completely different tone. Yang Chung and Hui Lin looked at each other. Yuan Yi and Tang Ding also stared at each other, completely dumbfounded. However, Lin Ruashi didn't care about the expressions of the people behind her. She continued to use her beautiful voice to sing the melody that was completely out of tune. In fact, Lin Ruashi's strength in singing was not that she was completely out of tune. It was just that the tune she sang was completely noisy. To put it bluntly, even if she were to read the lyrics, it would still be better than singing. In this world, there were really people who could speak better than sing. Yang Chung didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He didn't know that his wife had such a fierce side to her. No wonder she didn't want to sing just now. It was obvious that she had stage fright when she heard that the four of them were better at singing. Now, she had to bite the bullet. It was indeed as Yang Chung had guessed. Lin Ruashi had originally thought that an uncouth man like Yang Chung wouldn't be able to sing, so she agreed to come. She felt that even if she didn't know how to sing, she wouldn't be the only one making a fool of herself. Who knew that Yang Chung could sing? In this way, Lin Ruashi was in an awkward situation. She couldn't possibly run away, right? In her dictionary, there was no concept of cowering or running away. So, even if it was embarrassing, she had to calmly go forward and sing. When Lin Ruashi finished her song and turned around, Yuan Yi and Tang Ding were already sitting there with their foreheads darkened. They didn't make a single sound. Hui Lin, on the other hand, turned her head away in embarrassment. She didn't dare to look Lin Ruashi in the eye. She felt that it was a great respect for her not to say anything. Yang Chung smiled stiffly. "You sang well. It was deafening." Lin Ruashi snorted coldly. "Don't put on an act. Let me tell you the truth. Ever since I was young, I've always been at the bottom of my class for music exams. My teacher said that I was tone deaf. When I was in middle school, my music teacher gave me free time. I didn't need to attend classes. You guys didn't run away. That's already a testament to your endurance." Yuan Yi and Tang Ding looked at each other gloomily. Actually, it wasn't that they didn't want to run away. It was just that after hearing Lin Ruashi's terrifying singing, their legs turned to jelly. Yang Chung smiled at Shan Shan. "Honey, don't worry. There are fewer people who can sing every word perfectly than those who can sing well. You're a precious animal. I'm not a singer. If I don't know how to sing, I don't know how to sing. You don't have to comfort me." Lin Ruashi's face was as cold as ice. She walked to the sofa and put down a microphone. Tang Ding quietly took the microphone away and passed it to Hui Lin. "Sister Hui Lin, sing another song." They urgently needed a voice to comfort their wounded hearts. Hui Lin smiled awkwardly. She didn't dare to look at Lin Ruashi, who was exuding a cold aura. She chose Liang Jingru's song, Warmth. The meaning of the song's title was self-explanatory. For the rest of the time, Lin Ruashi didn't sing anymore. She just sat there quietly and listened to Hui Lin sing. Although she didn't say it out loud, there was a hint of envy in her eyes. Yang Chung laughed at the side. This woman was really a clown. When she started singing, her cold and beautiful image was completely shattered. After singing for another hour, it became Hui Lin's solo performance. When they were done listening to the song, they left the KTV under Yang Cheng's suggestion. Yang Cheng knew that if they continued listening to her, Lin Ruashi would be devastated. After bidding farewell to Yuan Yi and Tang Tang, the three of them returned home. Hui Lin went to help Mother Wang with the housework, while Lin Ruashi went upstairs to work with an indifferent face. Yang Chung went up to her and said with a smile, "Babe Ruashi, Let's go to the KTV tomorrow. With that, Yang Chung took out the platinum card given by Yuan Yi and waved it. Lin Ruashi's face turned red. She glared at him angrily. Do you want to see me make a fool of myself? No, it's just the two of us. I'll teach you and train you to sing. You have such a beautiful voice. There's no reason you can't sing well. You can't let it be your sore point for the rest of your life, right? Yang Chung said. So what? I can just stop singing in the future, right? Lin Ruashi said indifferently. What if our friends invite us to go together in the future? Are you going to make up an excuse every time? Moreover, there might be a lot of employees asking you to sing in the company's activities in the future. You can't just not give them face every time and kill everyone with your cold gaze. Yang Chung said. Lin Ruashi hesitated. It seemed that singing was something that had a high chance of happening. She thought for a while and said, Then promise me one thing, and I'll go with you. Yang Chung was puzzled. What is it? You have to work seriously in the future. You can't just disappear without a trace. Leave everything to Wang Jie and Zhao Teng. Lin Ruashi said seriously. Yang Chung sighed in his heart. It turned out that Lin Ruashi had been monitoring him. She was really worried about him. Okay, I promise. Yang Chung felt that if a couple wanted to live a good life, they had to compromise. Only then did Lin Ruashi nod her head in satisfaction. She agreed to learn singing with Yang Chung. But just when she was about to go upstairs, her phone rang. Lin Ruashi took out her phone and looked at it. She frowned and hesitated whether or not she should pick it up. What's wrong? It was rare for Yang Chung to see Lin Ruashi thinking for a long time before answering a call. Lin Ruashi faintly sighed. It's Jingjing. After speaking, Lin Ruashi picked up the phone. Chapter 357. Ever since they parted at the hospital, Li Jingjing had never contacted Yang Chung again. As for whether she had contacted Lin Ruashi, Yang Chung wouldn't ask. From the bottom of his heart, Yang Chung didn't blame Li Jingjing. She was just an ordinary girl. Humans would always have positive and negative emotions. Not many people were truly evil. From the last time, when she was used by Zhang Xinlin, although Li Jingjing had her own reasons, a hateful person must have a pitiful side. At that time, Yang Chung was only angry and didn't pursue the matter further. In this aspect, Lin Ruashi, who was also a woman, must be more open-minded. Thus, she picked up the phone. Li Jingjing seemed to have said something that surprised Lin Ruashi. It was rare for Lin Ruashi to reveal a trace of astonishment on her calm face, followed by a slight sadness. Have you decided? Lin Ruashi asked on the phone. After a while, she said, Since it's like this, I'll send you off at the airport tomorrow. You'll go too. Don't say anything. I'll be there on time. Seeing that Lin Ruashi had hung up the phone, Yang Chung frowned and asked, What happened to Jingjing? Lin Ruashi looked at Yang Chung with a complicated expression. She said that the school has a plan to send outstanding young teachers to the U.S. for further studies. She was chosen, and she also decided to go. The flight is tomorrow, and the visa has already been applied for a long time. She felt that if she didn't say anything, it would make us feel that she didn't respect us and that she was running away from something. Thus, she called me to tell me. I've decided to send her off at the airport tomorrow morning. You should go too. After all, you're the closest to her. Going to the U.S. for further studies? Yang Chung was stunned for a moment. Suddenly, his heart felt dry. After thinking for a long time, he sighed and asked, Did she say how long she'll be gone for? I think it's 1.5 to 2 years. She's majoring in English at UC San Diego. Lin Ruashi said lightly. Yang Chung nodded. I understand. I will go. Seeing that Yang Chung agreed, Lin Ruashi didn't say anything more. She turned around and went upstairs. Yang Chung stood at the top of the stairs, his eyes filled with mixed emotions, but he was unable to calm down. Although Li Jingjing had stopped contacting him, and he didn't know how to face this girl who used to be like his own sister, they were still in the same city. Now, this young woman was going to the United States to study alone. Although it was a good thing, Yang Chung still felt a faint sense of loss and reluctance in his heart. Even if she wasn't his lover, she could still be considered half a relative. Yang Chung shook his head and stopped thinking about it. At the same time, in a military compound in Zhonghai, The Kai family's mansion was a different story. Although the Kai family used to be a big family in Yanjin, they had gained a lot of influence in Zhonghai due to the fact that the family head, Kai Yunqing, had been working in the Zhonghai region for many years. At the same time, they had a good relationship with both Yanjin and Zhonghai. At this moment, Kai Yunqing, who was wearing a dark green military uniform and a lieutenant general, was standing in front of the door of a simple room. He looked at the young man lying on the bed in the room. The young man was Yang Lai, who was injured by Yang Cheng. Luckily, he didn't die, but he was severely injured. Yang Lai's master, Yujizi, was still wearing a green robe. However, on the way back, Yang Lai's blood had splashed on his clothes, and he looked a little disheveled. Yujizi frowned as he looked at his disciple, who was sleeping soundly. His face was pale, but he was at his wit's end. Daoist Yujizi, is Yang Lai really that badly injured? If he can't participate in this battle, it will be a great loss for our camp. Kai Yunqing said solemnly. Yujizi shook his head and sighed. Kunlun's secret arts focus on offense, not defense. It focuses on dispersing, not healing. I don't have much skill in healing. Lai has been cultivating with me since he was young. If I had a way, I would have used it long ago. However, his internal organs have been injured, and he's bleeding everywhere. His injuries are too severe. How could he have such a terrifying injury? Even in the group of 8, Yang Lai's combat power is only second to Abbess Yun Miao. Kai Yunqing said in confusion. If I didn't use the secret medicine from Kunlun's sect's Heaven Mountain to build his foundation when he was young, as well as the medicinal baths to cleanse his meridians and refine his bones, Lai wouldn't have suffered such a simple injury. Yujizi's face was pale. Even I, an old Taoist, would have ended up like this after being hit by that young man's palm. And he didn't even use his full strength. If he sighed, in the whole of Huaxia, the only people who can match him are those who don't come out of their seclusion. At this moment, a disdainful female voice came from outside the door. Oomph. Even if those old fellows come out of their seclusion, they won't be Yang Cheng's match. Moreover, do you think that Shu Mountain's endless resolve restoration scripture is that easy to deal with? Dressed in a grayish-purple Taoist robe and a nun's hat, it was Abbess Yun Miao who walked in slowly. Behind her was Kai Ning, who went to welcome her. Endless resolve restoration scripture. Yujizi was shocked. Abbess, you said that the young man is cultivating Shu Mountain's endless resolve restoration scripture. How is that possible? Isn't that divine art only learned by your senior brother Song Tianqing? Is that young man an esoteric disciple of Shu Mountain? Abbess Miao glanced at Yang Lai, who was lying on the bed with disdain. Yang Cheng is the disciple that my senior brother Song took in when he was overseas. His endless resolve restoration scripture is much stronger than my senior brother Song's. He has long reached level 8 full cycle. You coward! Even if my senior brother Song was at level 7, he might not be able to withstand it, let alone Yang Cheng, who is at level 8. Level 8. Yujizi wasn't angry at Abbess Miao's mockery. He only mumbled, the internal force of endless resolve restoration scripture at level 8 can allow someone to reach Xiantian full cycle. What? Xiantian full cycle? Abbess Miao was shocked. You're saying that Yang Cheng has reached Xiantian full cycle? Yujizi was stunned. Abbess, you don't know? When I saw him make his move this morning, I immediately concluded that he has reached Xiantian full cycle. If he were to take another step forward, he would be a legendary figure. Abbess Yun Miao pondered for a moment before replying seriously. Even though endless resolve restoration scripture at level 8 can allow one to enter Xiantian full cycle, it has to be level 9 in order for one to reach Xiantian full cycle. Moreover, it has to be at the peak of level 9. This time, Yujizi was completely dumbfounded. Wasn't it said that the creator of endless resolve restoration scripture, that senior from Shu Mountain, had only reached that level? That's right. Since then, almost no one has reached level 8. Abbess Yun Miao revealed a proud smile. It seems like our Shu Mountain has gained another supreme expert. Yujizi pondered for a moment before asking in confusion. But even if he has reached Xiantian full cycle, How can you say that those experts who don't leave the mountain are no match for Yang Cheng? Abbess Yin Miao. Abbess Yin Miao looked at Yujizi as if she was looking at an idiot. Before you leave the mountain, don't you know that the Yellow Flame Iron Brigade has provided you with the current strength distribution in the country? What do you mean? Yujizi indeed didn't pay much attention to it. Abbess Miao said impatiently. Don't you know that Yang Cheng is the inheritor of Pluto's ring? What? Yujizi felt that his brain wasn't working properly anymore. He couldn't care less about his posture as a Xiantian full cycle anymore. Beads of cold sweat formed on his forehead. You're saying that he has comprehended God's power? According to the intelligence, that was the first time in history that he killed a god. At the same time, he obtained a god's position and inherited God's power. In other words, he is the first human in history to kill a god and become a god. If he only used martial arts, those old fogies who don't leave the mountain might be able to fight him to a draw. But in terms of real strength, unless those old fogies break through the legendary limit, they won't be his match, Abbess Miao said. Kai Yunqing, who was listening to Abbess Miao and Yujizi talk about Yang Cheng's strength, couldn't understand most of it. After all, even though he was a core member of the military, he wasn't a cultivator. Thus, Kai Yunqing could only ask his eldest daughter, Kai Ning, who was standing beside him, Ning, is that Yang Cheng really that invincible? Even when facing her father, Kai Ning's expression was still indifferent. She nodded and said, if it wasn't for the fact that they couldn't do anything to him, I believe that in this world, almost every powerful organization would want him dead, including our general. Why? I heard that after he returned to Huaxia, he didn't provoke anyone. Kai Yunqing was puzzled, because he has something that too many people want. A trace of melancholy flashed through Kai Ning's eyes. As soon as she finished speaking, she turned around and left, unwilling to stay any longer. Kai Yunqing looked at his eldest daughter's cold back and sighed softly. His eyes were filled with tenderness. Chapter 358. The next morning, Yang Cheng arrived at Zhonghai International Airport in Lin Ruoshi's car. Lin Ruoshi's Bentley was finally repaired. The tires of the car were shipped all the way from England. Lin Ruoshi wasn't sure if it was because there wasn't any stock in the country, or because the car's design was different from other cars, but she wasn't in a good mood. Yang Cheng wondered why this girl didn't change her car when she had so many cars. The reason given by Lin Ruoshi made Yang Cheng feel very emotional. She had feelings for the car and didn't want to change. Yang Cheng thought that it would be great if the feelings for the car could be used on him. When he arrived at the departure hall of the international airport, Li Jingjing, who was wearing a pink sweater and a white jacket, was holding a small suitcase and waiting silently. When she saw Yang Cheng and Lin Ruoshi together, Li Jingjing's eyes were slightly moist and she smiled. Sister Ruoshi, Brother Yang, thank you. Thank you for seeing me off. After the phone call yesterday, Li Jingjing didn't really believe that Lin Ruoshi would really come to the airport to see her off. But who knew that it was true? Yang Cheng sighed and patted the back of Li Jingjing's head. He wouldn't avoid Lin Ruoshi from doing this. It was a kind of love for his sister, and he knew that Lin Ruoshi would understand. When you go there, you'll be alone. Don't believe in the words of others, especially those who seem to treat you well. Don't be reluctant to spend money just because US dollars are more expensive than Huaxia dollars. You have to spend what you need to spend, or else you won't be able to live. Take care and have a safe trip. Lin Ruoshi said lightly, as if it was a very easy task. Li Jingjing couldn't hold back her tears. Other than nodding, she couldn't say anything else. Lin Ruoshi suddenly smiled. You are one of the few friends I have here. I will wait for you to come back so that you can continue to teach me how to cook. All right, when you come back in 2 years, there will be some new cute children in the orphanage. Li Jingjing smiled through her tears and nodded vigorously. Thank you, Brother Yang and Sister Ruoshi. Goodbye. Goodbye. Li Jingjing didn't say anything more. She turned around and pulled her luggage, walking in the direction of the exit without looking back. Lin Ruoshi was the first to turn around and walk out of the airport. Yang Cheng caught up with her and said with a smile, Ruoshi, my little darling, I think you're cold on the outside but warm on the inside. A woman like you is too charming. Don't talk nonsense with me. Say those words to other women. Lin Ruoshi rolled her eyes at him. Apparently, sugar-coated words had little effect on a rational woman like her. Yang Chung chuckled. Then let's go to KTV. You promised me yesterday that you would learn singing from me. It's a vital skill for your future. Lin Ruoshi stopped in her tracks and looked a little embarrassed. Can I not go? No. Yang Chung quickly refused. You can't go back on your promise. Look at me. I've done what I promised you. Lin Ruoshi curled her lips and didn't say anything else. She quickly walked to the parking lot. More than half an hour later, the two came to Yuanming KTV that they had been to yesterday. The manager naturally wouldn't forget Lin Ruoshi's appearance. Yang Chung didn't even take out his platinum card, and the manager vacated a large private room for Lin Ruoshi and Yang Chung to use for free. Yang Chung realized that he had been tricked by that brat Yuan Yi. It was obvious. This platinum card was a useless thing. With Lin Ruoshi's face, she had enough capital to enter this place for free. Yang Chung felt that he had to extort money from that brat next time. He shouldn't have tricked his big brother like that. But right now, the most important thing was to teach Lin Ruoshi how to sing. There was another big reason why Yang Chung insisted that Lin Ruoshi come, and that was because of his own reputation. His wife was awesome in everything, but when it came to singing, she became the executioner who killed everyone in seconds. Wasn't that embarrassing her husband? Just like how women hoped that their men were handsome and charming so that other women would be envious of them. Men also hoped that when their women sang, other men would be envious of them. Although it was fine as long as Lin Ruoshi didn't sing, Yang Chung would always have a knot in his heart. So, Yang Chung taught Lin Ruoshi very seriously, starting from the most basic vocalization and explaining the plainest music theory. As for this professional knowledge, Yang Chung just had to read a few books and memorize it. It wasn't difficult at all. So there were all kinds of complicated conversations in the KTV room. Use your throat, not your nose. The nose doesn't make any vocalizations. Cloudy sky is stop. Stop. How can you sing the first word out of tune? Even if you sing cloudy sky, you won't go away, right? Cloudy sky is stop. I said you wouldn't go away if you sang it. And you really did it? Sing it. Cloudy sky. The first word is out of tune again. In the end, Yang Chung finally taught Lin Ruoshi how to sing the first line. Although the speed was as slow as reading, at least it was in tune and accurate. Yang Chung thought for a while and remembered a method from a book. So he moved his hands up and down and his feet left and right. His whole body started to dance rhythmically. He nodded and said, "Come, do this with me." Lin Ruoshi pouted and looked at Yang Cheng's bear-like posture. She shook her head and said, "No, it's too ugly. What are you doing? Didn't you say we were going to sing? This is called rhythm. When your body has a rhythm, you will feel it when you sing. Now, you have to find a rhythm and follow the music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. Just like this, follow me. 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. Hurry up." Yang Chung moved his limbs like a panda and shouted for Lin Ruoshi to follow him. Lin Ruoshi was shocked by Yang Cheng's shout. She looked at Yang Cheng's serious face, and he seems to treat her as a student. Lin Ruoshi made up her mind and clenched her teeth. Since no one in the room could see them, she put down the microphone and followed Yang Chung as she stood up and swayed her limbs like a panda. As a result, the young couple were like pandas bumping into each other, swinging their limbs while singing along to the songs on MTV. Lin Ruoshi felt that such a strange movement could really bring out a sense of music, so she gradually became immersed in it and started singing along with it. After 3 songs, just as Lin Ruoshi and Yang Chung were swinging and singing along with the fast-paced songs, the door opened. A waiter was standing at the door of the private room with a plate of fruits. When he looked up, he saw a man and a woman swinging their limbs like turtles. It couldn't be helped. It just so happened that it was their turn to become turtles. Lin Ruoshi was like a startled rabbit. She threw herself into Yang Chen's arms. She wanted to bang her head against the wall, to kill herself. How could she face others in the future? The waiter seemed to realize that he had seen something he shouldn't have. Although he wouldn't be killed, he still put down the fruit plate and slipped away. Yang Cheng was delighted by this sudden interruption. Lin Ruoshi had taken the initiative to jump into his arms. With a soft and fragrant body in his arms, and Lin Ruoshi had been moving for a long time, her body was slightly sweaty, so her body fragrance was overflowing. Yang Cheng enjoyed a few breaths of the rich fragrance. Hee, I told you. Singing like this will improve quickly. Yang Cheng said happily, his hands hugging Lin Ruoshi's soft waist. Lin Ruoshi suddenly realized what she was doing. She pushed Yang Cheng away angrily. Her pretty face was pink. It's all your fault. I don't even dare to go out. What's wrong with that? We have a marriage certificate. No one can stop us from getting a room at a hotel. Yang Cheng said gloomily. I'm not talking about that. Lin Ruoshi was about to cry. That waiter will definitely go out and say that we did that. That weird posture. Yang Cheng curled his lips. Was that strange? Who cares if it was strange? It was effective. Suddenly, Lin Ruoshi's phone vibrated on the table. Lin Ruoshi couldn't care less about the awkwardness. She walked over and picked up the phone. She frowned and immediately picked it up. Hello, Wu Yu. What's up? It was her secretary, Wu Yu, who was on vacation. Lin Ruoshi listened for a while. The flush on her face faded and was followed by a solemn expression. Chapter 359. Yang Cheng waited for Lin Ruoshi to finish the call before he walked up and asked, Did someone die in the company? Why are you so serious? You're the one who died. Lin Ruoshi snorted. You don't know how to say anything nice. Then why do you look so serious? Yang Cheng asked. Lin Ruoshi thought for a while and said, Premier Ning is going to Zhonghai tomorrow to meet with the representatives of the Chamber of Commerce. Wu Yu informed me that I need to prepare to attend the meeting tomorrow. Premier Ning? Yang Cheng thought carefully. It had been a year since he returned to Huaxia, and he often watched the news. The first person he thought of was the current premier of Huaxia. He asked, You mean Ning Guangyao? Lin Ruoshi nodded. Who else do you think it is? The current head of the government of Huaxia and the second most powerful person in Huaxia was Ning Guangyao. Ning Guangyao was also the youngest premier in the history of Huaxia. He became a premier when he was less than 50 years old. Because of his handsome appearance, resolute and resourceful, he won the hearts of the people and could be regarded as an idol-level national leader. Yang Cheng clicked his tongue and sighed. I didn't expect you to meet the second-in-command of China's highest authority. Babe Ruoshi, it seems like you've clearly placed your position as the leader of the business world in Zhonghai. Lin Ruoshi rolled her eyes at him. I didn't expect that I would be asked to go. Maybe it's because Yulei has made a big move this year. But I'm not the only one. The head of the Yuan family, Yuan Hui, who you know will also go. At the same time, there will be Secretary Fang Zhongping and the chairman of several other companies. There may be more than 20 people. Yang Cheng laughed. This is a good thing. Why do you look distressed? A slight struggle appeared on Lin Ruoshi's cold face as she said, I'm vexed because you said that apart from myself, I also have to bring 2 representatives of the company to attend the meeting. That's why I was thinking about who to bring. Now I've decided. I'll bring you and Chinny. Yang Cheng's face stiffened. Bringing M.O. Chinny with him? What is this woman playing at? That isn't a little awkward. Yang Cheng couldn't say it too clearly. I know that your bestie has an affair with your husband. Aren't you deliberately making things difficult for me? Lin Ruoshi seemed to be waiting for such an expression on Yang Cheng's face. She sneered and said, I've already decided. What you do is your own business. You're the director of the branch, and Chinny is the vice president. There's nothing wrong with bringing you there. If you screw it up for personal reasons, you're on your own. This was clearly a threat. At the same time, it was also a way for Yang Cheng to express his stance. Even if he didn't cut anyone off, at least he knew who he was biased towards. If you don't go, you can't do it because it's an official job. If you make your wife unhappy because of personal reasons, then you'll have to bear the consequences. This time, it was Yang Cheng's turn to be distressed. When he meets M.O. Chinny tomorrow, how should he get along with these 2 women at the same time? Should he call M.O. Chinny and tell her not to come? That's impossible. That woman isn't easy to deal with. If she knows the reason, she'll definitely fight it out with Lin Ruoshi. Ayaya, why are there so many heroines around me? Yang Chen gloomily thought. At the same time, in the military courtyard of the Kai family, Yang Lai, who had been seriously injured and didn't dare to treat his injuries on his own, was still lying unconscious on the bed. This time, Yang Lai followed his master, Ujizi, to Kunlun. He originally planned to perform well in the upcoming battle, but who knew that he would collapse before the battle even started. It couldn't be said that he died before the battle started, but it was as painful as a fetus dying in the womb. This serious injury of Yang Lai couldn't be hidden at all. After all, his position was too eye-catching. His talent was outstanding, and he was accepted as the last disciple of Kunlun's Xiantian expert, Ujizi. At the same time, Yang Lai was the young master of the Yang family, one of the most powerful families in Huaxia. This identity was even more prominent than his own strength. Therefore, the news of this serious injury spread out immediately. Although only some people in the upper echelons knew about it, it was enough to cause quite a stir. Of course, as a father, Yang Pejuan happened to be working in the Jiangnan military, so he quickly rushed to the Kai family's courtyard to check on his son's condition. In less than half a day, Yang Lai's mother also rushed to the Kai family's courtyard. This beautiful lady, who was dressed elegantly and looked like a woman in her 30s, was the one whom Yang Cheng had met once before, Guoshuahua. Seeing her own flesh and blood lying unconscious on the bed with a face as pale as a piece of paper, how could anyone tell that he was a lively young man in the past? Guoshuahua felt her vision go black, and she almost fainted on the spot. Fortunately, her guards, Xiao Wen and Xiao Li, supported her. In the ward, the head of the Kai family, Kai Yunxing, Kai Ning, Ujizi, and Abyssian Miao, were facing Yang Pejuan and Guoshuahua in silence. They could all tell that Yang Pejuan was in a bad mood. Obviously, Yang Lai could be considered the only descendant of the Yang family, and he was such an outstanding person. Now that he was in such a state, how could he bear it? Yang Pejuan's face darkened as he glanced at everyone present. He indeed had the confidence to do so. Even though Abbas Yin Miao and Ujizi were of a higher seniority than him, with his rank of general and the commanding officer of the military, there were not many people in Huaxia who dared to be on equal footing with him. What did the doctor say? Yang Pejuan asked Kai Yunxing. Kai Yunxing sighed and said, the doctor could only conclude that Yang Lai's internal organs have suffered unimaginable damage. It's a miracle that he's still alive. Surgery and medicine can't cure him. Can't cure him? Yang Pejuan said angrily. Bullsh *T. They're quacks. There's nothing in this world that can't be cured. Can't cancer be cured now? Lai is obviously still breathing and has a heartbeat. Didn't they say that he could still talk before he came back? Ujizi said, Commander, the doctor is right. Liar has been tempered with all kinds of secret medicine and medicinal baths since he was young. He also cultivates Kunlun's internal energy, so his body functions are different from ordinary people. And this time, he suffered an internal energy attack from a Xiantian expert. It can be said that if there's a slight movement, Liar will. So it's not a problem that can be solved with ordinary medical treatment. Then what should we do? Is our going to lie there for the rest of his life? Guoshuahua's eyes were already red from crying, like two red peaches. She really didn't want to continue talking. Yang Pejuan glared at his wife angrily. What nonsense are you talking about? There must be a way. How can I, Yang Pejuan's son, live the rest of his life like this? Turning around, Yang Pejuan looked at Ujizi with a sharp gaze. Taoist, is there any way to cure Laya? Ujizi frowned. In fact, he knew of a way. Although he wasn't sure if it would work, it was really the only way he could think of. As he thought about it, Ujizi looked at Abyssian Miao, who was beside him. Abyssian Miao had been silent the whole time. When she saw Ujizi looking at her, she sighed slightly. There's a way. Abbas, what way? Yang Pejuan immediately became alert. Even a father and daughter from the Kai family looked over curiously. Abbas Yin Miao said, Taoist, and I have thought about it carefully. Since Yang Lai was injured by an expert with extremely high internal energy, we can naturally use the same level of internal energy to treat him. However, the person who injured him was already a Xiantian full-cycle expert. As far as I know, There are less than a handful of people who have reached this level in Huaxia. Those few people live in seclusion and don't have any contact with the outside world. Perhaps we can't even find them. So, we have to find them even if we can't. Liar must recover. Yang Pejuan clenched his teeth. Actually, there's another way. Yu Jizi hesitated for a long time before saying, actually, we could try to get the young man who injured Liar to treat Liar's injuries. That young man's internal energy is profound and has a miraculous healing effect. As long as he's willing to help, Liar has an 80% chance of completely recovering. If it's another expert, even if we get him, he might not be able to recover Liar's internal energy. Yang Pejuan was shocked. What? Get the person who injured Liar to treat him? That's right. As far as I know, Liar actually doesn't have much of an entanglement with that person. Perhaps it's because of some misunderstanding. So, if we can sincerely beg him, perhaps, Yu Jizi's meaning was self-evident. That person was Yang Lai's savior. However, it was impossible to ask him to come over without being shameless. This task naturally couldn't be done by anyone else. Even Yu Jizi, as his master, wasn't qualified to do it. Moreover, with Yang Lai's parents around, it would be inappropriate for Yu Jizi to do this. Yang Pejuan frowned deeply. Although he wanted Yang Lai to recover, he really couldn't swallow the humiliation of humbly begging someone. I'll go, Guo Shihua suddenly said loudly. I'll go beg that person. Master Taoist, tell me quickly, where's the young man who injured Liar? What's his name? Everyone was moved when they saw Guo Shihua's determined face, and her tears had yet to dry. After all, a mother's thoughts were the same in every family. Even if she knew that she would be ridiculed in such a situation, and Guo Shihua was in a high position, it was already very impressive that she was willing to do this. Seeing that Guo Shihua was so persistent, Yu Jizi couldn't care less about Yang Pejuan's solemn expression anymore. He told Guo Shihua Yang Cheng's address. Madam Yang, that young man is called Yang Cheng. He has quite a relationship with Shu Mountain. You can tell him that I'm also hoping that he can help. Please forgive me for not being able to intervene, but I hope that you'll succeed, Yun Miao said. Yang Chun, Guo Shihua repeated silently and nodded to show that she remembered it. Thank you, Abbess. Unbeknownst to her, when Yang Pejuan heard this name, he felt a chill on his forehead and suddenly realized something. Seeing that Guo Shihua was about to leave with the two guards, Yang Pejuan thought about it and immediately followed them. Shihua, you can't go. Yang Pejuan shouted and blocked Guo Shihua in the corridor. Guo Shihua's eyes were red. She said softly, Move away, I want to save my son. You're the wife of the general, the daughter-in-law of the Yang family, and the wife of the future vice-chairman of the military commission. You're begging a martial artist, a young man, in such a humble manner. What's wrong with you? Yang Pejuan reprimanded loudly. Guo Shihua smiled bitterly. It's your status, your face, your pride again. Yang Pejuan, I've had enough. 20 years ago, I lost a son because of your nonsense. Is your only son less important than your face? Do you want me to lose a second son? Shut up. Yang Pejuan roared as if the weakest part of his heart was stabbed. Guo Shihua didn't care about Yang Pejuan's obstruction at all. She strode past him with a determined expression. Move away. Yang Pejuan stood in the corridor blankly until Guo Shihua's footsteps got further away. He then muttered to himself, as a mother, begging her son, is this karma? The more Yang Pejuan thought about it, the more bizarre he felt. If Yang Cheng was really that Yang Cheng, then how could his martial arts be so domineering? Was he really as outstanding as Yang Jiyu said? Yang Pejuan narrowed his eyes. Yang Lai's injury was put aside. Yang Pejuan felt that it was time to carefully investigate Yang Cheng's situation. Chapter 360. The next morning, although Yang Cheng was helpless, he could only follow Lin Ruoshi to the Zhonghai City Government Office building to attend the meeting between the Chamber of Commerce and Premier Ning. After all, as the financial center of Huaxia and an important export city, Zhonghai played an important role in the country. It was meaningful for the premier to meet with the representatives of the local Chamber of Commerce at the end of the year to talk about the gains and future prospects of the year. In the past, if any leader came, Even if the Chamber of Commerce wanted Lin Ruoshi to come, Lin Ruoshi would directly decline and let Mo Chinny come. But this time, he was the premier, not an ordinary ministerial official. It was not easy to not see him. The driver was Mo Chinny. The three arrived at the downtown building together. Along the way, the two women talked and laughed, but they did not pay attention to Yang Cheng, who was sitting like a log. Yang Cheng was puzzled. Shouldn't the two be jealous of each other? Did he overestimate his charm? The two women who were in work mode obviously did not take Yang Cheng too seriously. Once they entered the building, with the introduction of the commissioner, the three entered the conference hall and waited for the arrival of Ning Guangyao. Inside the conference hall, Yuan Hui, Fang Zhongping, other municipal leaders, and the backbone of the Chamber of Commerce were already waiting. Lin Ruoshi and Mo Chinny were the only two women, and they were both beautiful young women. They were the most beautiful scenery in the conference hall. However, most of these CEOs were elders in their 50s or 60s. When they looked at Lin Ruoshi and Mo Chinny, they did not have many men's desires. They only looked at their backs with approval. Yuan Hui saw Yang Cheng also came and greeted him with a friendly smile. I heard you're the director of Yulei Entertainment now. Actually, it's the same as before. I'm just making a living and being my wife's assistant. Yang Cheng was embarrassed to admit that he did not do anything. Yuan Hui did not mind. You are naturally not as good as your wife at work, so it's natural for you to be her assistant. Oh, right. Yuan Yi said that you seem to have gotten into a fight with someone. In fact, there are a lot of things that no one can explain clearly. Don't be too stressed, and don't be too mentally burdened. Everything will get better. You are a mature young man. You know what I mean. Yang Cheng thought to himself that this was the main topic. He smiled and said, I understand. It's fine now. Yuan Hui sighed. He knew that, as his son-in-law, he did not have the right to interfere with the Yang family's affairs. He then chatted with Lin Ruoshi for a while and went to talk with the other CEOs. Because of Tang Wan, Fang Zhongping didn't give Yang Cheng any face. After exchanging a few pleasantries, he ignored Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng was depressed. He hadn't contacted Tang Wan for a long time. The duck that was cooked earlier seemed to have flown away after Tang's matter. Although Yang Cheng was not so hungry that he had to eat that fat duck, he still felt that it was a pity. At this moment, a group of energetic bodyguards dressed in black rushed in from the entrance of the venue. They were wearing headphones. After looking around, a middle-aged man dressed in a casual suit walked into the venue hall. This man was handsome, and his sideburns were slightly white. He looked energetic, and he had a faint smile on his face, which made him look friendly. The man was followed by a handsome young man who looked similar to him, and there were a few other officials with different looks. Yang Cheng recognized this man, Ning Guangyao, who was in the news every day. Ning Guangyao reached out to shake hands with the government and the Chamber of Commerce the moment he entered. Lin Ruoshi, Mo Chinny, and Yang Cheng were at the back. When Ning Guangyao shook hands with Lin Ruoshi frowned slightly, but she was ready to extend her hand. However, when Ning Guangyao saw Lin Ruoshi's face, he was stunned. There was a strange look in his eyes, which made Lin Ruoshi's hand freeze in the air. Yang Cheng felt depressed. He's already in his 50s. Could it be that he's taken a liking to my wife? Lin Ruoshi also felt uncomfortable, but he was in front of the Prime Minister. She couldn't show her cold and unapproachable expression. She could only bite her lips and pretend that she didn't see Ning Guangyao's strange expression. Women are indeed not inferior to men. I didn't expect the Zhonghai Chamber of Commerce to have such a young and important member. Ning Guangyao chuckled to cover up his momentary loss of manners. He shook hands with Lin Ruoshi. The young man behind Ning Guangyao saw Lin Ruoshi and couldn't move his eyes away. It was as if he was attracted by a magnet. If it wasn't for the situation, he would have pushed the Prime Minister away to shake Lin Ruoshi's hand. Yang Cheng had a headache. If he knew this would happen, he wouldn't have asked Lin Ruoshi to come. What kind of people were they? Mo Chinny saw Yang Cheng's unhappy expression and her heart ached. When no one was looking, she reached out and pinched the soft flesh on Yang Cheng's waist. Yang Cheng instantly understood. Seeing that Lin Ruoshi wasn't paying attention to him, He moved closer to Mo Qianni and said, "What's there to be jealous about? I'm unhappy that you're being stared at." Humph. Mo Qianni rolled her eyes at him. Then, she sat down with Lin Ruoshi and ignored Yang Cheng. What followed next was a rather tedious work report with rules and regulations. Yang Cheng was simply too lazy to care about these economic rules and regulations. This had nothing to do with a commoner like him. The rules were set by others, he just had to play by them. The only thing that made Yang Cheng resentful was that Ning Guangyao was looking at Lin Ruoshi from time to time. Although he pretended to be unconscious, the keen Yang Cheng still noticed that Ning Guangyao's gaze was on Lin Ruoshi's face most of the time. The young man sitting at the edge of the table was staring at Lin Ruoshi from beginning to end. He didn't even look at the documents in his hands. Yang Cheng couldn't help but ask Mo Qianni, "Qian, darling, who do you think that guy is? Why are your eyeballs about to fall out? Are you jealous?" Mo Qianni said softly and glanced at Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng smiled at Shan Shan. "Isn't it because I don't want you guys to be seen by others?" Needless to say, he has been staring at Ruoshi. Mo Qianni snorted. "That's Premier Ning's son, Ning Guodong. I heard that he is a member of the entourage and is already a deputy department official. This time, it's not an important meeting, so Premier Ning brought him here. It's said that he might take over his father's position in the future." As expected, like father, like son, Yang Cheng thought that if his father and son really dared to have any crooked thoughts, he wouldn't care if he was the premier or not. At most, he would just kill him and replace him. At the end of the meeting, Ning Guangyao proposed a plan for several major groups in Zhonghai to jointly develop a real estate in Beijing. The intention was to link the capital of the two major cities, and it could also be considered a bilateral cooperation led by him. Many CEOs immediately expressed their approval. To them, taking out a few $100 million was as easy as eating beans, and it could even make the premier proud, so why not? However, when it was Lin Ruoshi's turn, Lin Ruoshi thought for a while and replied to Ning Guangyao, "I refuse to participate in this plan." Ning Guangyao was looking at Lin Ruoshi with a kind expression, but was suddenly rejected. He was startled and asked immediately, "General Lin, do you think there's something wrong with this?" The company and the person's name were in front of Lin Ruoshi, so Ning Guangyao already knew her identity. "There's nothing wrong with it. I just think that I can use the money myself and make more profits," Lin Ruoshi said straightforwardly. Needless to say, everyone else took a deep breath. This girl was too blunt. The other party was the second in command of the government. No matter how powerful Yulei was, it would still be beaten half to death if he moved a finger. However, Ning Guangyao didn't seem to be angry at all. Instead, he looked at Lin Ruoshi with a thoughtful expression and nodded lightly. If that's the case, then General Lin doesn't need to participate. After all, this is a voluntary project. "Thank you, Premier," Lin Ruoshi said. She knew that it was a little rude, but business was business, and she was used to making decisions on her own. The meeting ended, and Ning Guangyao and the other patrollers began to bid farewell to the Chamber of Commerce and the Municipal Committee of Zhonghai. After all, this was only a stop on the way, and he still had other places to give speeches. At the end of the year, the leaders always had a lot to attend to. However, before they left, Ning Guodong finally couldn't take it anymore. He walked up to Lin Ruoshi with a handsome smile and said, "You're old, General Lin. I'm Ning Guodong. I know it's a little presumptuous to greet you like this, but I just want to invite you to have a meal together. I wonder if I have the opportunity?" Ning Guodong was the prime minister's son. He had an outstanding appearance and a high status. Naturally, there were countless women who adored him. However, he wasn't a playboy. Under the protection of a father like Ning Guangyao, his every move was under the watchful eye of others. At this moment, he made such an invitation to Lin Ruoshi because he was too tempted. Lin Ruoshi didn't pay much attention to Ning Guodong's request. Instead, she unintentionally glanced at Yang Cheng, who was next to her. Seeing that Yang Cheng's gaze was about to kill Ning Guodong, she was slightly delighted. "I'm sorry, Mr. Ning. Maybe next time." Lin Ruoshi also knew Ning Guodong's identity, so she didn't speak too harshly. Ning Guodong didn't expect Lin Ruashi to reject him. He was slightly disappointed, but he didn't mind it too much. He smiled and nodded. All right, although it's a pity, I hope General Lin will do me the honor next time. After Ning Guangyao and the others left, Yang Cheng angrily said to Lin Ruashi, "How can you say next time? You should reject him directly." "Reject? Even if you beat me to death, I won't go." Lin Ruashi glanced at him proudly. "I just want you to see that you're not the only man in this world. As for whether or not I want to eat with other men, it depends on your performance. The decision is in your hands." After saying that, she turned around and left. Yang Cheng's face was filled with astonishment, followed by bitterness. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why did he suddenly become so passive? Could it be that this girl was taking revenge on him for letting her play Panda Clash yesterday? This time, Emo Chini didn't get jealous. Instead, she giggled at the side. "What are you laughing at, little Chantian? Are you happy that your man is being bullied like this?" Yang Cheng asked. Emo Chini pouted and said, "I just think that if you don't treat me well in the future, I'll be as good as Ruashi. Anyway, it's not like there aren't people who want to treat me to a meal all day long." You guys, even if he was stabbed by a knife, Yang Cheng almost had the urge to vomit blood. Chapter 361. At the invitation of the leaders of the Municipal Party Committee and some people from the Chamber of Commerce, Yang Cheng and Lin Ruashi had lunch in a government hotel. Mo Chinni, on the other hand, had left because she had some other work to do. This time, the meeting between the three of them was not as awkward as Yang Cheng had imagined. Perhaps the two women had a tacit understanding in private. Lin Ruashi would not point out the problem, and Mo Chinni would also pretend that she did not notice anything. Under the premise that no one was mentally prepared, no one dared to break this situation easily. Yang Cheng heaved a sigh of relief. He would not have a headache for the time being, but it would be hard to say in the future. He asked for you to send a car over, and Yang Cheng drove it home. When they arrived at the door, Yang Cheng's sharp eyes immediately noticed a familiar white Infinity car parked in front of the door. Yang Cheng was slightly puzzled. How could it be that woman? But when he thought that she might be looking for Lin Ruashi, he did not think too much about it. Lin Ruashi did not notice that there were guests at her house. Just when she walked to the door and was about to open it, the door immediately opened by itself. Two familiar-looking young female guards, Xiao Wen and Xiao Li, walked out first, followed closely by Guo, who looked melancholy and had red and swollen eyes. Guo had been waiting for the two of them to come home. When she vaguely heard some movements outside, she immediately ran out. Hui Lin and Mother Wang followed her to the door. Mother Wang looked a little surprised, but Hui Lin's brows were deeply knitted, and her eyes were filled with self-blame and guilt. "Are you Yang Cheng?" Guo was also stunned when she saw Yang Cheng. It had not been a long time since they last met at the orphanage. Moreover, Yang Cheng's appearance and aura gave her a very special feeling. She vaguely had some strange thoughts, so when she saw Yang Cheng, she immediately recognized him. A flash of surprise flashed in Yang Cheng's eyes. He did not expect that she was looking for him and not Lin Ruashi. Lin Ruashi looked at Yang Cheng strangely. She had just seen Guo, and she thought that the founder of New Hope Orphanage was looking for her. Although they did not have much interaction in the past, and they did not talk much when they met occasionally, she should not be looking for Yang Cheng, right? "I am." Yang Cheng nodded. Guo suddenly stepped forward and grabbed Yang Cheng's arm. She did not care about her dignified demeanor and hurriedly said, "I am Yang Lai's mother, Guo. We met at the orphanage last time. I heard that you can save my son. I beg you, please save him, okay?" Guo pleading was like a bolt from the blue that hit Yang Cheng's mind. Yang Cheng's eyes widened, and he was stunned for a long time. Yang Lai's mother? Yang Cheng suddenly realized something. No wonder when he saw the portrait of this woman, he felt a sense of déjà vu. No wonder when he met her at the entrance of the orphanage that day, he also felt a special emotional fluctuation. No wonder the corner of Yang Cheng's mouth revealed a trace of bitterness. He did not look at Guo face and said in a low voice, "Do you know why he was injured by me?" Guo face was sad. She smiled bitterly and said, I know. I just asked little Hui about the situation that day. Has always liked little Hui, but he is not a bad person. He was just anxious, so he was a little reckless. He's already been punished. Can you go and save him? If he goes on like this, he will not be able to get up again. Hui Lin looked sad. She naturally knew Guishuehua. Although she had been cultivating in Mauname all year round, she still knew the important figures of the big families in Yanjing. Although she did not like Yang Lai, Hui Lin still felt pity when she saw this woman, who had always been praised by the upper class, begging in such a low voice. Lin Ruashi finally understood the cause of the matter. She did not expect that Yang Lai was Guoshuahua's son. Since Guoshuahua had quietly established so many orphanages without seeking any rewards from society, it was obvious that she was kind. She really did not understand why her son, Yang Lai, would have such a bad temper. However, although Lin Ruashi could not bear to see Guoshuahua like this, she did not persuade Yang Cheng to save Yang Lai. After all, some things were decided by men. Reckless. Yang Cheng snorted and sneered. In broad daylight, he used force to drag a girl who did not want to go with him. At the same time, he mocked and ridiculed those who did not have any evil intentions, completely disregarding them. Such a person will think highly of himself and be arrogant just because he has some strength. Instead of letting others suffer after he recovers, it's better for him to spend the rest of his life alone in bed. Anyway, with the power of the Yang family, even if you can't cure him, you can still make him a patient lying on the bed. Guoshuehua turned pale with fright. Her wrinkled face seemed to have aged a few years as she looked at Yang Cheng wearily. Yang Cheng could not bear it. But to be honest, although he was young, he had seen countless people. Based on Yang Lai's character, it was almost predestined. Once he recovered, he would only have a stronger grudge against him and would not turn over a new leaf. Therefore, Yang Cheng made up his mind and rejected Guoshuahua's request. There was still a sour and unbalanced feeling in the bottom of Yang Cheng's heart. When he thought that this woman actually came to beg him and cried for the sake of that good-for-nothing guy, Yang Cheng felt a violent and gloomy feeling surging in his heart. If it was not for the fact that his endless resolve restoration scripture had been cultivated to the 9th level, and Yang Cheng's willpower and endurance were extremely firm, he might not have been able to control himself and directly turned around and left. How can you be like this? Do you think you're so great just because you're good at fighting? Isn't it enough that my family's madam humbly begged you? Xiaowen, the guard at the side, could not hold back anymore. She had not liked Yang Cheng since they were in the orphanage. Now that her madam was so embarrassed and in pain, she immediately became angry and did not care that Yang Cheng's strength was much stronger than hers. Yang Cheng glanced at Xiaowen coldly. He only released a little bit of pressure, but it was enough to make Xiaowen's face turn red, and she did not dare to say another word. Go back. I will not save Yang Lai. Not every mistake has a chance to change. He is lucky that he did not die in my hands. It is other people's luck that he cannot use force in the future. After finishing his words, Yang Cheng prepared to go back into the house. Wait! Guoshuahua turned around and shouted loudly to stop Yang Cheng. Looking at Yang Cheng's cold back, her elegant face showed some determination. Puff! Under the watchful eyes of the surrounding women, Guoshuahua suddenly knelt on the ground. Even if Yang Cheng did not turn around to look, he knew what had happened behind him. However, it was too sudden, and he did not think of stopping it at all. She actually, kneeling to me, Yang Cheng stood on the spot in a daze. It was as if his feet were nailed. Behind him, Guoshuahua did not cry anymore. Instead, she smiled sadly. Today, I came to beg you to save my son, not as the madam of the Yang family, nor as a member of a big shots family. I only came to beg you as the biological mother of my son. So, I am not forcing you, nor am I commanding you. I'm sincerely begging you. Although I know that my son has made a mistake that he should not have made, and he should not be so arrogant, but please allow me to say something extreme. Shouldn't children make mistakes? If they don't make mistakes, how can they be children? When children do things that harm others, as parents, it is difficult for them to absolve themselves from the blame. Even if Lai really does something disgraceful in the future, it is because we did not educate him well for the past 20 years. I am not a good mother, but I hope that when my son's life is about to be ruined, I can try my best to save him. Guo Xiuhua raised her head and looked at Yang Cheng's back, which was still motionless. Today, I will kneel here and beg you. No matter what you ask of me, as long as I can do it, I will do it. But please don't let my only remaining son be ruined like this. Okay, only remaining son. My life is really a joke. Yang Cheng laughed. He laughed so hard that his shoulders started to shake. In the end, it turned into a maniacal laughter. He even laughed so hard that tears flowed out from the corners of his eyes. The rest of the people present, including the two guards, Mother Wang and Hui Lin, were all surprised. They did not understand what was wrong with Yang Cheng. Lin Ruoxi listened to Yang Cheng's wild and unruly laughter, but her heart ached. She did not know why. Although Yang Cheng was clearly laughing, it made Lin Ruoxi feel extremely sad. She felt so sad that she felt despair. The feeling of loneliness and desolation was hard to erase from this man's back view. Although Lin Ruoxi knew that Yang Cheng had an extraordinary past, at this moment, she understood a little more a man with this kind of laughter. Perhaps he had really seen too many things lightly. After a long time, when Guo Xiuhua was about to lose all hope, Yang Cheng slowly turned around and looked at the woman who was kneeling on the ground expressionlessly. He looked at her haggard face and said, "If you want me to save your son, you have to promise me one thing." Guo Xiuhua's eyes flashed with ecstasy. "Don't say one thing. Anything, as long as it's within my power. I'll do it even if it's 1,000,000, 10,000. Yang Cheng shook his head. "I don't need you to do so many things, but there's one thing I want you to keep in mind." Taking a deep breath, Yang Cheng said in front of everyone's nervous eyes, "Madame Guo Xiuhua, I hope that from now on, you will never say the word beg to me again. Never say the word beg to me again. Never kneel to me again. No matter what happens, I forbid you to kneel to me or anyone else. No matter who it is. No matter what it is. Don't ask why. Just ask me, can you do it?" Chapter 362. Not only Guo Xiuhua, but everyone else also couldn't understand why Yang Cheng was speaking in such an agitated and sonorous tone. Was this it? Was this a request? Guo Xiuhua was stunned for a while. She looked at Yang Cheng's deep and complicated eyes and nodded silently. "I promise you," Guo Xiuhua said solemnly. She stood up slowly and didn't ask why. Yang Cheng didn't say anything else. He walked past Guo Xiuhua and said to Lin Ruoxi, "Wifey, I'll go home for dinner after I'm done with my business. You can go in first." Lin Ruoxi nodded. "Got it." Yang Cheng didn't care about the others and walked towards Guo Xiuhua's infinity. Lin Ruoxi turned around and looked at Yang Cheng's back. He looked extremely bleak in the cold wind. Even his usual laziness couldn't be seen anymore. Guo Xiuhua stood in front of the door for a long time. There were many complicated thoughts that she couldn't clear up. However, when she saw that Yang Cheng was already in the car, she immediately said goodbye to Lin Ruoxi and the others and returned to the car with Little One and Little Li. On the way to the military compound of the Kai clan, Yang Cheng sat beside Guo Xiuhua silently with his eyes closed. He seemed to be deep in thought. Guo Xiuhua was excited. She knew that her son could be saved. She looked at Yang Cheng's side profile from time to time. She felt that there was something special about him, but she couldn't figure out what it was exactly. When they arrived at the Kai family's compound, there were a few more layers of guards outside. It was obvious that there were many important people gathered inside for Yang Lai. Following the lead of a servant from the Kai clan, Yang Chun and Guo Xiuhua walked into the quiet courtyard where Yang Lai stayed. Many armed soldiers stood in every dark corner with stern expressions. If an ordinary person were to enter the entire area, they wouldn't even dare to breathe loudly. Yang Cheng walked along the long corridor without saying a word to Guo Xiuhua or asking about the current situation. When they arrived at the door of Yang Lai's room, everyone in the room looked at Yang Cheng. Other than Kai Yunxing, Kai Ning, and Yang Lai's master, Yu Jizi, Yang Jiu was also standing beside Yang Lai's bed. When Yang Jiu found out that her nephew was injured by Yang Cheng, she was angry and distressed. She knew that with Yang Cheng's character, Yang Lai must have done something wrong first, which caused such a disaster. But when she thought about how family members attacked each other, Yang Jiyu was filled with anger. However, he couldn't go against his elder brother's wishes, so he could only remain silent and watch the scene unfold in front of him. Seeing that Yang Cheng was invited by Guo Shuihua, Yang Jiyu was relieved. She thought that Yang Cheng was willing to come and save Yang Lai because of their friendship. She didn't know that it was Guo Shuihua who begged him. "I'm really grateful that you came. I know you have your reasons, but he's still too young. I hope you could be more tolerant," Yang Jiyu said to Yang Cheng sincerely. "Since I'm here, there's no need to say these words," Yang Cheng said. Yang Jiyu sighed. "Then I'll leave it to you. To be honest, He Wei and I like you a lot. You're a reliable young man, and we're proud of you." Yang Cheng didn't reply. He walked to Yang Lai's bed and looked at the pale Yang Lai in silence. Kai Yunqing was slightly stunned and asked Kai Ning, "This person is Yang Cheng? He knows your Aunt Yang?" Kai Ning nodded and said faintly, "I don't know why, but I do know him." Kai Yunqing pondered. Yang Jiyu, Yang Cheng, Yang Lai, Yang family. Could there be some other relationship between them? Guo Shuihua was slightly surprised to see that her sister-in-law knew Yang Cheng long ago, but she didn't ask immediately. She only looked at Yang Jiyu suspiciously. She knew that her sister-in-law wasn't easy to deal with. She was involved in many of the Yang family's matters. She treated Yang Cheng warmly, as if she was talking to a junior. This definitely wasn't something that would happen normally. Guo Shuihua had a vague feeling that the people around her were hiding something from her. "Are you confident?" Taoist Yu Jizi finally spoke and asked Yang Cheng. He valued his last disciple very much. Yang Cheng glanced at him and said, "Can I just leave if I say I'm not confident?" Taoist Yu Jizi's face instantly turned ugly, but he didn't dare to lose his temper. Now that he knew Yang Cheng's true identity, he completely understood that he wasn't on the same level as him. Yang Cheng turned his back to everyone and said, "Everyone, leave this room. No one is allowed to come near for half an hour." Guo Shuihua was a little worried. She wanted to ask Yang Cheng what he was going to do, but she was stopped by Yang Jiyu. "Sister-in-law, let's go. Yang Cheng has a sense of propriety. Maybe he doesn't want to distract us during the treatment." Guo Shuihua had no choice but to follow Kai Yunqing and Taoist Yu Jizi out of the room. When they came to the courtyard outside the room, Guo Shuihua looked at the closed door and asked Yang Jiyu, "Jiu, tell me the truth. Are you hiding something from me?" Yang Jiyu was stunned. She knew that Guo Shuihua was a smart woman. She must have sensed something from the tone of her conversation with Yang Cheng. Although she wanted to tell this poor woman that the child she had been searching for more than 20 years was right in front of her, she also knew that if she really did that, Guo Shuihua would definitely bring Yang Cheng back at all costs and pull him into the Yang family. In this way, some rivals of the Yang family in the political arena could seize the scandal of the Yang family in the past and cause a huge blow to Yang Pejuan's election campaign. Although the Yang family might not collapse because of this, it would definitely be hit hard and its development would be limited in the future. Although Yang Jiyu was courageous, she did not dare to change the fate of the family without permission. Therefore, she just blanked out for a moment and showed an easygoing smile. "Sister-in-law, what are you thinking about? Why would I hide anything from you?" Guo Shuihua was obviously not easy to fool. She asked, "Then how did you know Yang Cheng? Can you tell me?" Yang Jiyu immediately thought of an excuse. She smiled and said, "Oh, his wife, Lin Ruoshi, is the CEO of Yulei International. She has business dealings with the Yuan family, so we got to know each other at the banquet and chatted. We are friends." Lin Ruoshi. Guo Shuihua did not pay much attention to Lin Ruoshi when she was in the villa because she was focused on Yang Cheng. Now that she thought about it, she remembered that Yang Cheng called that woman wife before he left. After thinking about it carefully, Guo Shuihua remembered that she seemed to have seen that woman a few times in the orphanage in Zhonghai, but it was just a blink of an eye. So she's the CEO of Yulei International. Yulei International. Lin Ruoshi. Guo Shuihua muttered to herself. She really looks like that woman. What? With what woman? Yang Jiyu heard Guo Shuihua suddenly muttering to herself and couldn't help but ask. Guo Shuihua shook her head and said, "Nothing. I was just thinking about something from the past." Although Yang Jiyu felt that there must be some inside story, she didn't ask much. At this moment, facing Guo Shuihua, she was feeling very guilty, so she didn't dare to say anything. While Yang Cheng was treating Yang Lai's injuries, Guo Shuihua and the others were waiting in the courtyard. Outside the Kai family's courtyard, two men who happened to be here also met. As usual, Yang Paijuan was wearing a military uniform. His face was as sharp as a knife, and there was a hint of coldness on his face. When he saw the energetic man in a black coat coming out of the other jeep, he felt a little strange. "General Lin, why do you have time to come here?" The person Yang Paijuan asked was Lin Jigua. Lin Jigua wasn't surprised to see Yang Paijuan. He said with a smile, "Commander Yang's son is not well. I just heard the news, so I came immediately. The mission this time is extremely difficult. As an important combatant, Yang Lai was suddenly injured. As the commander-in-chief, it's only natural for me to care about him. I thank General Lin for your concern on behalf of my son." Yang Paijuan cursed the old fox in his heart. What did he mean by "just heard the news"? He was just like me. He received the report and knew that Yang Cheng was here to treat Yang Lai's injuries. He was worried, so he rushed over immediately. Thinking about how this person brought the DNA test report to Yang Gongming and got scolded by his father, Yang Paijuan didn't have a good attitude towards Lin Jigua. Obviously, from Yang Paijuan's point of view, Lin Jigua's intention wasn't simple. He must have a more far-reaching plan, so he had to be careful. The Lin family wasn't considered as a top family with real power like the Yang family in Beijing, but they were still slightly inferior. They shouldn't be underestimated, especially when Yang Gongming told him not to underestimate the Major General Lin Jigua. It was obvious that this guy had a hidden force behind him. At the very least, when Yang Lai and Yu Jizi went down the mountain to participate in the national mission, Lin Jigua was in charge. Yang Paijuan suddenly remembered that he spent the whole night investigating Yang Cheng's background for the past 20 years. With the military's information and methods, a lot of Yang Cheng's information was directly locked in the ultimate file. Only the highest-ranking personnel in the National Security Bureau could see it. As for some of the information that he knew, he didn't even know if it was true or false, so it was useless. Although Yang Paijuan was only in charge of the military, he knew that Huaxia had a secret organization called Yellow Flame Iron Brigade. However, it wasn't in public, so it stayed away from power struggles and wasn't valued by others. Yang Paijuan thought about it. The only possibility was that Yang Cheng's information was kept by that department. Only Yellow Flame Iron Brigade would need to protect their information like that. Even he, the commander of the military, couldn't see it. Then Lin Jigua, who could detect the relationship between Yang Cheng and the Yang family. Could he be the real person in charge of Yellow Flame Iron Brigade? Only that possibility would make old master Yang Gongming look at him cautiously. Thinking about this, Yang Paijuan asked while walking with Lin Jigua, "General Lin, you know Yang Cheng, right?" Lin Jigua already knew that Yang Paijuan would ask this. "Yes, we've worked together twice." There seems to be quite a lot of special things about his past. Yang Paijuan glanced at Lin Jigua from the corner of his eyes. Lin Jigua raised his eyebrows slightly. "Commander Yang, you know more about military secret than I do." Yang Paijuan's heart sank. It seemed like his guess was right. Yang Cheng did have a very terrifying past. Thinking about it, how could someone at Ujizi was so afraid of be simple? Although he didn't know what military secret Lin Jigua was hiding, Yang Paijuan had to weigh the scales in his heart again. What kind of position should he place this young man who suddenly appeared out of nowhere? Chapter 363. When Yang Paijuan and Lin Jigua arrived at the courtyard, Abbess Yun Miao was already standing there. Seeing Yang Paijuan, Abbess Yun Miao only nodded slightly. But when she saw Lin Jigua, she didn't intend to bother with him at all. She turned her head and pretended not to see him. Lin Jigua sighed and walked to Abbess Yun Miao's side. "Why do you have to do this? You have to make me feel bad every time we meet. Treating me like this won't do you any good either." Abbess Yun Miao snorted. "Just worry about yourself. Of course, you don't have to care about my matters." "Can I not care? If you didn't insist on Hui to be with Yang Chen back then, This wouldn't have happened today. Now that the young master of the Yang family is injured, are you satisfied? Abbess Yin Miao glared at Lin Jigua and said angrily, "This is better than your decision that caused my son and daughter-in-law to die." You. Lin Jigua was furious, but he couldn't say anything to refute. After all, it was his decision to let his children die in a foreign land. Seeing that Abbess Yin Miao and Lin Jigua quarreled after just a few words, everyone pretended not to hear or see anything. The fact that Lin Jigua and Abbess Yin Miao were husband and wife wasn't a secret in this circle. However, people didn't know much about it. They only knew that the two had been fighting for more than 20 years, so they weren't surprised. Yang Pejuan exchanged a look with his sister, Yang Jiu, before walking to Guo Shuihua's side. He looked at the closed door with a complicated expression. That young man is treating life? Guo Shuihua was a gentle person. Even though she didn't get along well with Yang Pejuan before, she wouldn't quarrel with Abbess Yin Miao for more than 20 years. She nodded lightly and said softly, "He said not to disturb him for an hour. He should be done soon." Yang Pejuan asked casually, "Did he say anything special to you?" "Special? What do you want to ask?" Guo Shuihua gave her husband a strange look. Yang Pejuan immediately changed the topic. "He came just because you asked him to? Didn't he make any requests?" Of course, Guo Shuihua wouldn't say that she had knelt down. It wasn't because she didn't want to lose face, but because she knew that if she said it, Yang Pejuan would definitely be furious. At that time, everyone would be awkward and unhappy. Therefore, Guo Shuihua only said, "He only told me not to beg him in the future." That was his only request. Beg? Yang Pejuan frowned, but when he heard that Yang Cheng forbade Guo Shuihua to beg him, he was shocked. Yang Pejuan quickly realized that even though Guo Shuihua didn't know Yang Cheng might have already known about his relationship with the Yang family. As for why he didn't point it out, Yang Pejuan could think of many reasons. But no matter what, as long as Yang Cheng didn't point it out, it would be beneficial for him. You really shouldn't beg him. He's just your junior, not some big shot. He can't bear your request, Yang Pejuan said proudly. Guo Shuihua frowned, but she didn't refute. She was used to Yang Pejuan's arrogance. But at this moment, Guo Shuihua looked at Yang Pejuan's side profile. Suddenly, something stirred in her mind. Guo Shuihua fell into deep thought. Why did it seem like, after 5 to 6 minutes of silence in the courtyard, the door to Yang Lai's room finally opened? Yang Cheng walked out quietly with an indifferent face. There were some faint beads of sweat on his forehead. When everyone saw Yang Cheng, they immediately looked at him with questioning eyes. As for Yang Pejuan and Guo Shuihua, they had different looks in their eyes. Yang Pejuan looked at Yang Cheng with a scrutinizing and thoughtful gaze. As for Guo Shuihua, she seemed to have suddenly thought of something and was stunned on the spot. Yang Cheng said to Yu Jizi and the rest, "You can recover in a month. You'll be able to make up for the slight reduction in your power by cultivating diligently." Yang Cheng's voice was slightly weak. To heal a person's meridians and internal organs, the internal energy of the Endless Resolve Restoration Scripture was much more than expected. Moreover, Yang Lai's injuries weren't external, so he couldn't use his own blood to speed up the recovery. The exhaustion wasn't insignificant. Such a serious injury can actually be healed in half an hour. Senior Brother Song once told me about the magic of the Endless Resolve Restoration Scripture. I didn't expect the 9th level to have such a terrifying recovery ability, Yin Miao mumbled to herself. At this moment, everyone at the scene heaved a sigh of relief. After all, if Yang Lai was completely paralyzed and half dead, the Yang family wouldn't let it go so easily. Although most of them knew that Yang Cheng wasn't afraid of such things, it was still something harmful to Huaxia. Not to mention Yang Jiu, who was worried about her family. After Yang Cheng finished speaking, he didn't want to stay in this place any longer. However, just as he was about to leave, he raised his head and saw Yang Pejuan standing in front of him. This was the first time the two of them had officially met each other. However, whether it was Yang Cheng or Yang Pejuan, many things became clear in an instant. Guo Shuihua finally realized what a strange feeling she had when she saw Yang Cheng previously was too similar. Her husband and this young man, named Yang Chung, looked too similar. Although Yang Pejuan was getting on in years and had become older, he still looked very similar to Yang Chung when he was younger. It was just that Guo had never thought about it that way, so she didn't notice it before. Back then, Yang Jiu and Yuan Hui were outsiders, so they could see it more clearly. Through various secret investigations, and combined with Yang Cheng's attitude, Yang Jiu was able to make this judgment. After Yang Chung and Yang Pejuan looked at each other, no one said a word. They were just like the most ordinary strangers. Yang Chung turned his gaze to Kai Ning. "Help me prepare a car." Before Kai Ning could reply, Kai Yinqing said, "No problem. I have to thank you for saving Yang Lai." Seeing that Yang Chung was about to leave, Lin Jigua walked up and said, "Young man, don't be so impatient. I still have something to discuss with you." Yang Chung had already seen Lin Jigua and knew that it wasn't anything good. As expected, Lin Jigua came looking for him again. "Spit it out." Yang Chung was a little impatient. Lin Jigua already knew Yang Cheng's temper. Moreover, there were people present that Yang Chung didn't want to interact with. Lin Jigua was also one of the people present, so he wasn't angry. He smiled and said, "It's not convenient here." Yang Chung walked straight out of the courtyard. Lin Jigua looked at everyone and followed Yang Chung out of the courtyard. Seeing that Lin Jigua had something to discuss with Yang Chung, the others didn't follow him. Yang Jiu, Jizi, Yun Miao, and Kai Yunqing all went to other courtyards, leaving only Yang Pejuan and Guo. Seeing that Guo was looking at him suspiciously, Yang Pejuan knew that his wife had noticed something. His heart tightened, but he pretended as if nothing had happened. He said, "Let's go in and see Lai." Guo didn't say anything and followed Yang Pejuan into the house. Yang Lai was lying on the bed. His complexion looked much better. Looking at him from a close distance, he looked like he was sleeping. Guo heaved a sigh of relief. She adjusted the blanket for Yang Lai and thought for a while. With her back facing Yang Pejuan, she asked, "Pejuan, are you hiding something from me?" "No," Yang Pejuan answered straightforwardly. Guo seemed to have confirmed her guess. She smiled and said, "If you say no, then there must be something. If there's really nothing, you'll definitely ask me why I'm asking this. After being married for so many years, I know you better than you do." Yang Pejuan frowned. "Since you know me so well, you shouldn't have asked me." "Cannot ask." Guo suddenly turned around and stared straight at Yang Pejuan. "Tell me, Yang Chung, is he your lost child?" Chapter 364. Outside the Kai family's courtyard, under a huge locust tree, Yang Chun had a cigarette in his mouth, and his body was half leaning against the tree. He raised his head to look at Lin Jigua and said, "I'm not in a good mood right now. Make it short." Lin Jigua nodded knowingly and said, "Do you know why Yang Lai came to Zhonghai with his master, Taoist Yu Jizi from Kunlun sect?" "That's not what I'm concerned about," Yang Chung said. "But that's what I'm concerned about. It's what the Yellow Flame Iron Brigade is concerned about," Lin Jigua said seriously. "This time, the master and disciple came down the mountain mainly to support us. Last month, we received a threatening letter of challenge. The opponent's strength forced us to ask for help from experts outside of the Yellow Flame Iron Brigade. Although Yang Lai hasn't joined the Yellow Flame Iron Brigade yet, his strength is comparable to Sky Dragon's. Together with his master, Taoist Yu Jizi, he will be a great help. So, since you injured Yang Lai, you have to compensate us. Otherwise, if we lose, it won't be good for anyone," Lin Jigua said with a smile and a proud look on his face. Yang Chung sneered and said, "I did it for your granddaughter. Shouldn't you thank me? Even if Hui was taken away by Yang Lai wouldn't hurt her. Yang Lai can still participate in the battle. But this time, you almost killed Yang Lai, and he might not be able to fully recover even after a month. On the other hand, our battle could start any time. Don't you think this is very unfair to us? Why should I play fair with you? Why should I compensate you?" Yang Chung asked as he flicked the ash off his cigarette. Lin Jigua put his hands behind his back and looked at the direction of Sea City. "We tolerated you bringing a team of Sea Eagles to Huaxia. This is already the greatest privilege. This time, you injured our main force, but we won't pursue it. Although I admit that we respect you, don't you think it's appropriate for us to show our respect?" Yang Qing pondered for a moment and asked, "Tell me first, who is the other party and why he came?" Lin Jigua narrowed his eyes, and a trace of sharpness flashed through his eyes. "You definitely know the enemy better than I do. Sandstorm, the mercenary group of Sandstorm. Their target is the nuclear aircraft carrier that Huaxia is building in the hidden bay of Zhonghai." Hearing this name, Yang Cheng could not help but frown. Huaxia's construction of a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier had always been a rumor in the international community. No one had expected it to be true. This kind of news was obviously disadvantageous to many militarily powerful countries. Therefore, it was not impossible to hire non-national mercenaries to destroy it. After all, the world's top mercenary group was much stronger than the country's special forces. Sandstorm, this mercenary group, has never left the Middle East, right? Yang Cheng asked. That's right. Ever since Sandstorm was established, no one knows how it was formed. They have only been active for the past 2 years. If the Sea Eagles that listen to you are the mercenary overlord of the Mediterranean Sea in Northern Europe, then Sandstorm is the overlord of the Middle East. To be honest, our Water Dragon Special Forces are no match for them at all, Lin Jigwa said with a serious expression. Yang Qing took 2 deep puffs of the cigarette. The stimulation of the low-quality tobacco cleared his mind. After throwing the cigarette butt away, he began to ponder. Speaking of Sandstorm, although Yang Cheng did not have much contact with them, his men had suffered quite a bit in their hands. According to Solon's report, ever since the appearance of Sandstorm, almost all of the big contracts in the Middle East were taken by them. It was not that Sea Eagles were not as good as them, but in the Middle East, most of Sea Eagle's members were from the Mediterranean Sea in Northern Europe. As they lived on the sea and ice all year round, they were not good at fighting in the hot and bold desert wars. Therefore, in the past 2 years, the Middle East and Europe had been divided by the 2 mercenary groups. Sandstorm earned the gold of the oil tycoons, while Sea Eagles earned the gold of the ancient European nobles. No one interfered with the other, but they were secretly competing. Sandstorm's most famous battle was when they were hired by the revolutionary army of a country in the Middle East and directly overthrew the government of that country. During this process, the U.S. tried to use high-tech military force to suppress Sandstorm and thus control the puppet regime. However, Sandstorm soldiers sneaked into the U.S. military camp and kidnapped a general who was the commander-in-chief during the war. Thus, the U.S. was defeated. After that, Sandstorm's reputation reached its peak. No country dared to underestimate this mercenary group. Since they had always been active in the Middle East, they did not cause too many countries to be dissatisfied with them. Sandstorm also had a strange hobby. Whenever they were about to start a war, Sandstorm would send a letter of challenge in advance, saying, "We are coming to fight you, so be prepared." This was a wild, unruly, and extremely confident mercenary group. However, their impressive achievements were indeed admirable. 2 years ago, Yang Cheng had gradually faded out of the circle of bloodshed. He had also handed over most of the combat forces under his name to Solon, Maekdon, and the others to manage. Therefore, he had never come into contact with people for Sandstorm. The founder of Sandstorm was also a mysterious person. There was no information on his past at all. They only knew that he was a young man and nothing else. Yang Cheng finally understood why Lin Jigua was so shameless as to ask for his help. If Sandstorm really came for Huaxia, the Yellow Flame Iron Brigade would indeed be no match for them. The combat power of the group of 8 was not bad, but the members of the Dragon team were at most on the same level as the mercenaries from Sandstorm. In terms of bravery, they could not even compare to Sandstorm. Perhaps inviting Ujizi and Yang lie down the mountain was because they had no other choice. Sandstorm is coming from the Persian Gulf. Since it's an ocean battle, they definitely won't bring a large force. They will probably only have 2 elite teams. Can't you use the military to intercept them at sea? Yang Cheng asked. Lin Jigwa smiled bitterly. We want to, but do you know who hired Sandstorm this time? Yang Cheng shook his head. There were many people in the world who wanted to stop Huaxia from owning a nuclear aircraft carrier. Brahma, Lin Jigwa sighed. Yang Cheng was really shocked this time. It was them. You didn't expect this, did you? Brahma from India, one of the most inactive hidden organizations in the world, would hire Sandstorm from the Middle East to come all the way to Zhonghai to destroy our aircraft carrier base, Lin Jigwa said. Yang Cheng was really happy now. In this world, he felt that there was no organization that had the least sense of existence. Brahma from India was the first to bear the brunt of it. Brahma was an organization that was secretly established to protect important people in India after the end of the non-resistance movement and the death of Gandhi. According to ancient Indian mythology, Brahma was the most powerful god of creation. In Indian mythology, people like Indra, the heavenly emperor, Agni, the fire god, and Varuna, the water god, could only be considered second class. Brahma, Asura, Vishnu, and other great gods were the real supreme gods in India. Every leader of Brahma would become a Mahabrahma. It was said that this group of people had a very high level of ancient yoga in India. Therefore, they could perform many strange sorcery. Every Mahabrahma was one of the best among them. After all, it was true that yoga could improve one's physical and mental strength. However, the orthodox ancient yoga had long been secretly preserved by India. What was circulated in the outside world was only an incomplete yoga training method. Although many people didn't believe that yoga could be so magical when it was practiced to a high level, Yang Cheng knew that if one's mental strength reached a very high level, it wasn't impossible to perform some sorcery. Take the dead Noriko Okawa, for example. His murderous aura had reached a certain level before he could use the demon blade Muramasa to unleash a terrifying blade of light. A genin like Hanya couldn't even unleash a single blade of light with the demon blade Muramasa. If the people of Brahma really had a strong mental strength, it was normal for them to have some strange moves. After all, Hwasya had internal martial arts. As an ancient country, India would naturally have similar things. However, Brahma had always been active in India to protect some important people. There were almost no records of them going to war abroad. He didn't expect Hwasya's construction of a nuclear aircraft carrier to have such a big impact on India. Although it wasn't necessarily India's plan, it must have been made when India couldn't bear it anymore. India's aircraft carriers were all purchased old ones. If Hwasya could successfully build a nuclear aircraft carrier, it would be a completely different strategy. Since it was India's battle plan, they naturally couldn't stop them at sea. This was because the Sandstorm mercenaries would directly cross the mountains from Tibet and enter Hwasya's territory. On the other hand, it was impossible to capture them on land. If the regular army was dispatched, they would only be cannon fodder. At the same time, if they fought too fiercely, it would be inevitable that innocent civilians would be harmed. This definitely couldn't happen. The only thing they could do was to wait for them at the aircraft carrier base in Zhonghai and then fight. Yang Cheng was actually quite interested in meeting this group of people who were heavily influenced by Indian religion and mythology. Moreover, if the country he was in was messed up by these people who pretended to be mysterious, he obviously wouldn't feel good about it. However, if he helped the Yellow Flame Iron Brigade, it wouldn't be good for him to talk to the other countries. After thinking for a while, he said, I can send Molin from the Sea Eagles to help you. With him around, it won't be a problem to stop a team of Sandstorm mercenaries. However, I'm only responsible for protecting my Sea Eagles. The deaths of your people have nothing to do with me. Lin Jigwa's lips curled into a meaningful smile. What Yang Cheng meant was that he couldn't help them directly. He had to have a reason to help them. I understand. It's already a great help for you to send the Sea Eagles. Lin Jigwa's expression relaxed a lot. He smiled and said, Then how to contact the Sea Eagles? I'm sure you've already found out. You don't have to pretend that you didn't investigate anything in front of me. I'll inform Mullen tonight. You can contact him yourself. Yang Cheng directly exposed Lin Jigwa's intentions. Lin Jigwa wasn't young either. This kind of situation wasn't awkward at all. Young man, you're still my junior. Leave me some face. You have to fight for your face. Do something that will make me feel proud first. Yang Cheng shook his head and turned to leave under the locust tree. Kai Ning waited for Yang Cheng by the car in the distance for a long time. It was obvious that she planned to personally send Yang Chung back. Chapter 365. I don't know what you're talking about. Yang Pejun replied calmly to Guo Xuehua's question. Guo Xuehua seemed to be even more convinced of her guess. She said, that day at the orphanage, when I met Yang Chang for the first time, I felt that he looked very similar to that young man. It was as if he was an old friend of mine, but I couldn't remember who he was, so I didn't think too much about it. Today, when I went to beg him to save Lai, I also felt a strange feeling when I saw him. I don't understand why. Even though I don't know him, I feel that we have an inexplicable fate. Guo Xuehua smiled sadly and said, only a muddle-headed mother like me can't even feel it when I'm facing my own child. When I saw you just now, it suddenly occurred to me that Yang Chung looks very similar to you when you were young. Although your looks are different, the contours are almost the same. Your eyes, your nose bridge, they're almost exactly the same. Xuehua, you're thinking too much. It's just a coincidence, Yang Pejun said with a complicated look in his eyes. Guo Xuehua sneered. Coincidence? Yes, it's a coincidence. His surname is Yang, and he looks very similar to you. When I first saw him, I didn't know him at all, but I felt that he looked very familiar. Oh yes, when Aunt saw him just now, she actually spoke to him as if he was her relative. What a coincidence! Aunt actually knows this young man. Also, when I begged him to treat Lai when I knelt down to beg him, he told me not to kneel down to him anymore. What? Yang Pejun's eyes widened. You said that you knelt down to him? How could you kneel down to your own son? When Yang Pejun finished his sentence in rage, he suddenly realized that this was a trap set up by Guo Xuehua. As expected, Guo Xuehua's eyes revealed a wisp of wild joy. Her chest rose and fell as if she had obtained a new life. Her body trembled as she looked at Yang Pejun with tearful eyes. You finally admitted it. Yang Chung. That child really is my son. Really is. The corners of Yang Pejun's eyes twitched violently. With a gloomy expression, he said, so what? He appeared at the wrong time. Unexpectedly, Guo Xuehua didn't listen to what he said after that. She only heard that the answer was yes. Guo Xuehua was already immersed in ecstasy and couldn't extricate herself. Her tears gushed out like a spring. Her son, who she had been missing for more than 20 years, was actually alive and well in this world. Guo Xuehua felt that all the haze in her heart had been blown away by a gentle breeze. My son, I knew. I would definitely find him. Guo Xuehua wiped her tears and walked towards the door with a gratified smile. Where are you going? Yang Pejun suddenly moved in front of Guo Xuehua, blocking Guo Xuehua from leaving the door. Guo Xuehua said anxiously, of course I'm going to find Yang Chung. I'm going to tell him that Mom has been looking for him for more than 20 years. I'm going to tell him immediately. Do you think that he doesn't know that you are his mother? Yang Pejun asked. Guo Xuehua was stunned. She thought about how Yang Chung had asked her not to kneel down to him. Didn't he know her identity? He knows that you're his mother and I am his father, but that kid treats us like strangers. Do you think that he will be nice to you if you go to him? Yang Pejun asked again. Guo Xuehua clutched her chest and felt a sharp pain in her heart. But then she bit her lips and took a deep breath. She said, we have left him alone for more than 20 years. Of course he will hate us and refuse to acknowledge us. But this is not the same as me acknowledging him. I will let him know that my love for him has never lessened. I will use the rest of my life to make it up to him. So, whether he's willing to acknowledge me or not, I will go see him and tell him the truth. Yang Pejun said angrily, ignorant. Do you know what the consequences of doing this will be? If outsiders know that our Yang family has a son out of nowhere, how will they look at us? What happened in the past will be dug up. Not only me, but you, and even Father, our whole family. We will be humiliated. Do you know that? But aren't we the ones who caused this? Are you going to ignore your own children and pretend that they don't exist just because of your pride? Guo Xuehua screamed. Yang Pejun said proudly, I'm doing this for the Yang family, for the glory of our family. Sacrificing a kid who has been missing for more than 20 years is nothing. Guo Xuehua was so angry that she laughed. She looked at her husband, who was like a stranger to her. Yang Pajuan, how did you become like this? You weren't like this before. You told me that you would definitely bring the child home from the orphanage with me. The child was gone, and you were crying in the room. Didn't you say that you would find the child with me? Why? Why is it that the current you only thinks of doing these ridiculous things for the sake of your own position and your own power? Is it because in your eyes, the glory of the family is giving up your own children? Is it to make your wife look down on you? Slap. Yang Pajuan couldn't take it anymore and slapped Guoshuahua's right cheek. Guoshuahua was an ordinary woman. After being slapped by a military expert like Yang Pajuan, her body flew to the side. Her right cheek swelled up, and she fell to the ground. Her eyes were red from crying, and they were filled with shock and confusion. She was stunned. Yang Pajuan looked at his wife's stunned and disbelieving expression. His heart ached, and he regretted it. He quickly went forward to help Guoshuahua up. Shuahua, I didn't do it on purpose. Don't worry about me. Guoshuahua pushed away Yang Pajuan's hand and staggered to stand up. She touched her swollen cheeks and smiled. Yang Pajuan, I've been married to you for almost 25 years. Ever since I met you, no matter what I did or said, you've never scolded me. You've never scolded me. You've never scolded me. Today, you actually hit me to stop me from seeing my son that I've been separated from for more than 20 years. Yang Pajuan closed his eyes and calmed his emotions. He said solemnly, Shuehua, it's my fault for hitting you. But you have to know that if you acknowledge him, I will lose the election next year. Then, no one from the Yang family will be able to enter the core of the country for the next 10 years. Do you know what this means to the Yang family? Do you know how many people who rely on the Yang family will lose their support? Do you know how many people will be affected? Do you think I don't know? With father-in-law's face? So what if you can't become the vice chairman of the military commission? His students are everywhere in the central government. Without you, the Yang family will at most stagnate and will no longer be the top family. So what? Guoshuahua laughed coldly. You're just unwilling, aren't you? Unwilling to give up the power in your hands. Unwilling to give up all these years of operation. Unable to put down your old face. You. Yang Pajuan, whose face was red and white, waved his hand. He wanted to hit her again, but when he saw Guoshuahua looking at him with a smile, he couldn't bring himself to hit her. With a cold snort, Yang Pajuan turned around and opened the door. Outside the door, Guoshuahua's guards, Little One and Little Li, were already waiting. They could vaguely hear the adults arguing in the room, and they were frightened. Chief, when the two saw Yang Pajuan, they immediately greeted him respectfully. Yang Pajuan said to the two girls, Bring Madam back to the courtyard. From today onwards, without my permission, Madam is not allowed to contact the outside world and is not allowed to leave the courtyard. If there is anyone who wants to see Madam, report to me. Without my permission, no one is allowed to see her. Yang Pajuan, you can't do this. I want to see Yang Cheng. When Guoshuahua heard that Yang Pajuan wanted to imprison her and prevent her from seeing Yang Cheng, she immediately shouted anxiously. Little One and Little Li looked at each other awkwardly and nodded. Yes, although they were Guoshuahua's personal guards, they were also Yang Pajuan's female soldiers. As soldiers, they had to obey. Yang Pajuan turned around and looked at his wife, who was filled with resentment and unwillingness. He hesitated for a while and wanted to say something, but in the end, he just turned around indifferently and strode away. Madam, come back with us, Little One said to Guoshuahua sorrowfully. Although they didn't know why the chief wanted to treat Madam like this, they felt that no matter how pitiful Madam was, they had to follow the chief's wishes to control her. However, Guoshuahua didn't seem to hear them at all. Her legs went soft, and she sat on the ground with lifeless eyes. She muttered something, but no one could hear it clearly. Chapter 366. Sitting in the Audi driven by Kai Ning, Yang Chun could smell the clove-like fragrance emanating from Kai Ning's body. It seemed like this was the car she drove frequently. Kai Ning wasn't a talkative person. Although she wasn't as cold as Lin Ruoshi, she was still a surprisingly calm woman. Perhaps it was because she left home when she was young and learned martial arts in the Tang sect in Sichuan, but Yang Cheng couldn't make heads or tails of this woman. After driving for more than 10 minutes, Kai Ning finally said, "Actually, you don't have to agree to the general. I know you don't like to participate in these things." As one of the core members of the Yellow Flame Iron Brigade, Kai Ning naturally knew what Lin Jigua was thinking. The enemy this time was much stronger than expected, and the Yellow Flame Iron Brigade could be said to be fighting to the death. However, if Yang Chung really participated, everyone would have some confidence. Yang Chung smiled and said, "How do you know that I will agree?" "The general will definitely have a way to make you agree," Kai Ning said. Yang Chung looked at Kai Ning in surprise, and then said leisurely, "Do you know why I agreed to help you so many times?" Kai Ning frowned. "Is it because of Ruashi?" Yang Chung smiled faintly. "I also thought that your general is too good at playing tricks. He thinks he is very smart and can plot against me. He thinks that he has the capital to make me help him. But the truth is, the reason why I help you is mainly because of myself. It has been more than a year since I returned to this country. Here, there are many people I love, and there are also people who love me. I hope that their living environment will be peaceful. At the very least, I can't bring trouble to them just because of my appearance. So, I need to do my best to kill all possibilities. Then, while helping you, it can also be considered as my own selfishness. In any case, you guys are a layer of protection, aren't you?" Kai Ning nodded and didn't ask any more questions. Yang Chung thought about Choi Yun and asked, "The last time you came to my house, you didn't make it clear. What happened to Choi Yun? Why didn't I see her at your house today?" Speaking of Choi Yun, Kai Ning's expression suddenly turned cold. "You don't need to ask. In short, don't provoke my sister in the future." Yang Chung was stunned. He sighed and stopped asking. When the car passed by a street full of bars, Yang Chung remembered that he hadn't visited Chiang Wei for a long time. He had been very busy these days. He had just returned from Japan and really missed her. Chiang Wei was the kind of person who would only silently wait for you if you didn't meet her. Every time he thought of this, Yang Chung felt extremely ashamed. "Let's stop here. We don't have to go home immediately," Yang Chung said to Kai Ning. Kai Ning frowned. "Why? I have to go find my woman," Yang Chung said with a proud smile. "Your woman?" Kai Ning looked at the bars and nightclubs on both sides. She suddenly thought that it couldn't be a place Lin Ruashi went to. She suddenly realized that she was looking for a lover. She glared at Yang Chung and said, "Get out, shameless guy." The car suddenly braked. Yang Chung looked depressed. What was going on? He wasn't going to flirt with her. After Yang Chung got out of the car and walked in the direction of Rose Bar, Kai Ning sat in the car and watched his back view go away. After a long time, Kai Ning sighed faintly and murmured to herself, "Silly sister. Is it worth it for such a man?" Yang Chung didn't know that Kai Ning had such a strange sigh. When he saw the sign of Rose Bar, he had the urge to rush in and hug Chiang Wei and kiss her. Some people were like this. If you didn't have time to think about them, then nothing would happen. But once you thought about them, you would feel hot. The bar was relatively quiet in the afternoon. Yang Chung walked to the bar counter and saw Chun Rong seriously wiping the sparkling glasses. Seeing Yang Chung, Chun Rong smiled slightly. "Brother Yang, you're finally here. Big Sis has been depressed these days. Our hearts ache when we see her." Yang Chung smiled embarrassedly. "I'm a bit busy. I just came back from abroad. Is Chiang Wei angry?" "Brother Yang, even if you're busy, you should call Big Sis from time to time. You know Big Sis's personality. She wouldn't call you for no reason." Chun Rong was familiar with Yang Chung and didn't care much about her words. She protested on behalf of Chiang Wei. Yang Chung gloomily realized that he didn't have the habit of calling women. It seemed like he never took the initiative to call the women around him. Maybe it was because he was used to being free and easy in the past, and they all came from an extremely independent group of people, so he didn't have the thought of contacting them often. It seemed like he had to work hard to change these bad habits. He couldn't let his lovers suffer all the time. Don't change. If you change, you won't be you anymore. Suddenly, Chiang Wei's gentle and joyful voice came from the front. Yang Chung raised his head and saw Chiang Wei smiling at him. She was wearing a purple low-collared sweater and a gray Irish skirt. Chiang Wei seemed to have just done her hair. Her originally straight hair was slightly curled at the ends. She looked less heroic and more gentle and charming. Yang Chung said awkwardly, I have to change. I can't let you suffer all the time. Besides, this isn't a good habit. Xiang Wei smiled and shook her head. I think your habits are good, so don't change them. Why did this woman always say things that warmed his heart? If this was a way to tie a man up, Yang Chung felt that he would be willing to be tied up by her. Chun Rong, who was next to her, made an exaggerated, sour expression. Big sis, I didn't know you could say such mushy words. Why? Our Rong Rong is also happy and wants to find a man to say these kinds of words. Xiang Wei turned around and said jokingly. Chen Rong stuck out her tongue and immediately fell silent. Yang Chung went up and grabbed Xiang Wei's delicate jade hand. He squeezed it and pulled Xiang Wei to a secluded corner of the bar. He said, I went to Japan a few days ago, and I just came back because I had something to do. That's why I haven't come to see you for a long time. You don't have to explain to me. I'm not a little girl who grabs her boyfriend and acts like a spoiled child. I can wait, Xiang Wei said helplessly. Yang Chun smiled in distress and said, Babe Rose, to be honest, I would feel better if you acted coquettishly to me, or hit me, scold me, or throw a tantrum or grumble at me. But I don't feel good knowing that you're always waiting here quietly for me to come and see you. That's enough. Besides, if I really miss you, I can go to the company to find you. I'm a shareholder of your company. Xiang Wei blinked and said playfully. Yang Chung patted the back of Xiang Wei's hand. He knew that it was useless to say anything else. Xiang Wei's nature was like this. It was just like how it was difficult for him to take care of women in every possible way. It was hard to change, hard to change. Suddenly, Xiang Wei's jade-like finger pointed at Yang Cheng's chin. Hubby, raise your head. Xiang Wei's bright and moist eyes stared at Yang Cheng's eyes. Their eyes met. Just like this, don't move. Let me look at you, and you look at me like this. What's wrong? Yang Cheng didn't understand, but he still did as he was told. After the two of them looked at each other's faces for more than 10 seconds, Xiang Wei burst into laughter. She seemed to be very happy. Darling, why are you smiling like a fool? Yang Cheng asked gloomily. You're the fool. Xiang Wei giggled and said, I read a magazine yesterday. There was an article in the magazine about a foreign couple who lived a very loving life. Outsiders asked them why they never quarreled and were so loving. Their answer was that no matter how busy they were, they would take out more than 10 seconds to look at each other every day. They persisted in this habit from marriage until they died together. Yang Cheng's heart trembled slightly. When Xiang Wei quietly narrated this matter, her tone seemed to be able to melt his heart. Although we can't look at each other every day, every time we meet in the future, you come to see me, or I go to find you, look at me for 10 seconds, okay? 10 seconds. This woman's request was only 10 seconds occasionally. Yang Chung felt the rims of his eyes getting a little hot. He didn't know if the bar's heater was turned up too high. You silly woman, you're always waiting for me. Don't you feel wronged? Xiang Wei calmly smiled and shook her head. I don't feel wronged. From the moment I decided to follow you, I already thought about it, but I still decided to follow you. Hubby, do you know? Actually, it's a kind of happiness for me that you come to see me. But every time I can wait for you, waiting for you to come see me, it's also a kind of happiness for me. Happiness is always a two-way street. You treating me well is my happiness, and me waiting for you is also my happiness. Yang Chung smiled. Yes, happiness is a two-way street. What you gain is happiness, and what you give is also happiness. Xiang Wei understood this principle, but it was a pity that most people didn't understand. Just as the two of them were lovey-dovey, a couple walked in the entrance of the bar. Before Yang Chung and Xiang Wei could look over, they heard Chen Rong shout from the bar counter, Brother! Chapter 367. Chen Rong's brother? Yang Chung was stunned. Wasn't that the colleague he hadn't seen for a while after leaving Yulei International? Chen Bo? Yang Chun had a vivid memory of this man who was chased by the underworld to accompany a customer. However, ever since he became an editor, he hadn't seen him again. Yang Chung and Xiang Wei stood up and looked toward the door. It was indeed Chen Bo. Chen Bo was wearing a black jacket. His hair was cut short, and he looked a lot more spirited. He had also grown a beard, making him look more like a man. However, what made Yang Chun even more surprised was that by Chun Bo's side, there was actually a cute and lovable young lady wearing a red winter outfit. This woman's figure was as graceful as Xiang Wei's. Her skin was snow white and her long hair was dyed light yellow. She had a gentle Japanese style. Rong Rong. Chun Bo's voice was much louder. He didn't sound like the weak man he used to be. Although his voice was neutral, it was still a man's voice. He rubbed the back of Chun Rong's head. Didn't you want to see your brother's girlfriend? Here she is, your future sister-in-law. Sister-in-law? Chun Bo's girlfriend? Yang Chung and Xiang Wei walked over curiously. However, when they saw Chun Bo's girlfriend, they were stunned. At that moment, Chun Rong also wore a terrified expression. Her mouth was wide open, as if she had seen something extremely shocking. The charming woman smiled gently. Hello, I'm Chanel. Hi, hello, Chun Rong replied in a daze. She couldn't believe that the person in front of her was the Dongxing Zhou Dongcheng that she had seen at the Bloody Hongmin banquet. Of course, it was Miss Chanel who killed her father, Zhou Guangnian, and said goodbye to Yang Cheng. At this time, Chun Bo also saw Yang Cheng with Xiang Wei. His face lit up and he laughed. Yang Cheng, you're here too? What a coincidence. I just came back from a business trip and brought my girlfriend to show my sister. And I bumped into you. And boss Xiang Wei. Thank you for taking care of my sister. Yang Cheng greeted her stiffly and smiled awkwardly at Chanel. Chanel, on the other hand, was not shy or awkward at all. It was as if she was meeting Yang Cheng for the first time. She said in her gentle voice, You must be my husband's friend. Nice to meet you. Yang Cheng has helped me a lot in the past. Dear, why don't we treat Yang Cheng to a meal? Chun Bo suggested. You call the shots, Chanel said obediently. Ugh, that not today. I have to go home for dinner later. It wasn't that Yang Cheng was unwilling, but he promised Lin Ruoshi that he would go home for dinner. He couldn't go back on his word. That's a pity. Next time, I'll give you my phone number, Chun Bo said and forced Yang Cheng to enter his phone number. He even called him and recorded it down. Yang Cheng looked at Chun Bo, who was acting like a successful person. He couldn't believe that this was the cowardly young man from before. Could he have changed so much in less than a year? Also, why did Chanel's voice become like a woman's? Chun Rong also realized that the development of the situation was too ridiculous. She grabbed her brother's hand and said to Chanel, Sister, Chanel, I'm going to talk to my brother. I'll leave for a bit. Okay, go ahead. You siblings haven't seen each other for a long time. Of course you have something to talk about, Chanel said considerately. After Chun Rong pulled Chun Bo to a corner for questioning, Chanel looked at Yang Cheng and Xiang Wei with a playful expression. She said, You're curious about what's going on, right? Mr. Yang Cheng, Miss Xiang Wei. Yang Cheng smiled bitterly. Like Xiang Wei, he looked at Chanel blankly, waiting for her explanation. Chanel looked at Chun Bo, who was talking to Chun Rong not far away, and said, About half a year ago, I received a sex change operation from the best doctor in Thailand. After that, I really became a woman. I was very confused when I was overseas. Should I spend the rest of my life alone? Or should I find a man who doesn't mind my past and marry him? In the end, I met Chun Bo, who was in Thailand on a business trip for a magazine. It was a coincidence that he recognized me. I was bored, so I played with him. In the end, I suddenly realized that he was a very kind man. So I worked hard to change him into the person he is now. At the same time, we fell in love. Yang Qing knew that there were many twists and turns in the story, but he didn't ask too much. He knows about your past, and you know about his. Don't you feel awkward? Love is a very magical thing. Because of love, we got to know each other again. He's the masculine editor-in-chief Chun Bo, and I'm the little woman he keeps, Chanel. Isn't that great? Our lives should be this simple and happy, Chanel said happily. I'm a real woman now, no different from a real woman. I can even have children. Looking at Chanel's proud face, Xiang Wei couldn't help but turn her head away, trying to hold back her laughter. Yang Cheng, on the other hand, felt that the world was unpredictable. He didn't expect that in less than a year, these two people would change so much. However, looking at how happy they were, Yang Cheng sincerely wished them well. Not long after, it seemed like the siblings had talked a lot. Finally, Chunbo and Chunrong came back. Chunrong smiled at Chanel and called her sister-in-law, which made Chanel smile shyly. After exchanging a few more words with Yang Chun, Chunbo left the bar with Chanel, leaving behind only the backs of a loving couple. Rong, do you think it's okay? Xiang Wei asked Chunrong. Chunrong smiled. Brother said that he found his true love. What can I do? I can only wish him well. Yang Chung smiled at Xiang Wei. Baby Xiang Wei, we're in love too. Seeing how loving they are, don't you think we should do something to show our love? Xiang Wei blushed and rolled her eyes at Yang Chung. Didn't you say you have to go home for dinner? Yang Chung pointed at the clock on the wall. We can make it at 5. It's not even 4 yet. We still have an hour. No, I can only give you half an hour at most. 1 hour is too tiring, Xiang Wei said unhappily. That's not up to you. Yang Chung laughed. He half-hugged Xiang Wei and walked to the bedroom behind the bar. Chunrong looked at them enviously. She mumbled to herself, they don't even know that there are people standing under the cover. About an hour later, Yang Chung came out from the back of the bar with a satisfied look. He waved goodbye to Chunrong and rushed home for dinner. When he got home, Mother Wang and Hui Lin were moving hot dishes to the dining table outside. Seeing Yang Chung return, Hui Lin immediately asked worriedly, Brother Yang, how is it? Yang Chung smiled. How else could it be? It's cured. Phew. Hui Lin heaved a sigh of relief. I knew Brother Yang could do it. I'm sorry, I didn't know it would turn out this way. Don't say so much. It's over. Since I promised your grandma to take care of you, I can't let you be dragged away. Let's eat. Yang Chung looked around. Where's Ruwashi? Did she go out? Or is she working hard upstairs again? Before Hui Lin could answer, Lin Ruwashi walked out of the kitchen. She was wearing thick cotton gloves. She held a big bowl of white soup and placed it on the table. Wang Ma smiled and said, After you left, Miss insisted on cooking. She made a bowl of white fungus for you to try. It's good for your health. Young master, eat more. Lin Ruwashi glanced at Mother Wang. Mother Wang, who said it was specially made for him. I just wanted to eat it myself. Yang Chung looked at the blushing Lin Ruwashi with a faint smile. The woman in front of him was wearing an apron and cotton gloves. She was dressed like a housewife. Compared to the past, she was much cuter. Seeing that Yang Chung was staring at her, Lin Ruwashi felt her ears burning. She pouted and said, What are you looking at? I told you it wasn't specially made for you. Don't think too much. Hurry up and eat. After she finished speaking, Lin Ruwashi ran back to the kitchen like a little rabbit. Young master, Miss has such a temper. Don't mind her, Mother Wang said happily. Yang Chung nodded. He didn't say anything else. He scooped up a big bowl of white fungus and red date soup and started eating. Lin Ruwashi wasn't good at cooking, so the white fungus was a little burnt. But Yang Chung didn't care much about these things. He ate it with relish. When Lin Ruwashi sat down and the 4 of them started eating, half of the white fungus soup was already in Yang Cheng's stomach. Lin Ruwashi was shy and happy. Seeing Yang Chung winking at her, she glared back at him. Eat, eat, eat. Who told you to eat so much? Can't you leave more for us? Yang Chung laughed. It's mainly because my wife cooks so well. Glib. Lin Ruwashi pretended to be cold. She ignored him and buried her head in eating. But why did the food in her mouth become so sweet? Did they put too much sugar in the dishes today? After dinner, Mother Wang washed the dishes in the kitchen. Lin Ruwashi and Hui Lin were watching Korean dramas together in front of the television. The dramas were filled with tears. The 2 women were crying and laughing at the same time. In the past, Hui Lin was on the mountain and didn't have much exposure to these dramas. Now that she had been with Lin Ruwashi for a long time, Lin Ruwashi's habit of watching Korean dramas was infected. Now, they had become very close friends. Yang Chung wanted to watch the news. He could only run upstairs and watch it in his room. He was thinking, why does my house look like a girl's dormitory? However, looking at the news, Yang Chun couldn't help but think of the time he spent with Lin Ruwashi these past 2 days. Lin Ruwashi's various behaviors kept popping up in his mind. It seemed that his wife was slowly starting to accept him and care about him. Take tonight's dinner, for example. She was obviously pretending to be cold, but in fact, she was overjoyed. As soon as he thought of Lin Ruashi's perfect face and figure, Yang Chen's hormones, which he hadn't been able to get from Rose in the afternoon, became restless. Perhaps he could try a strategic field attack tonight? Ever since he got married, he had been suppressing this thought for far too long. Yang Chen waited until the sound of the television downstairs disappeared. He heard the footsteps of the two women coming up the stairs and heard the door close twice. Only then did he sneak out of the room in his pajamas. Lin Ruashi's room was right next to his. At this moment, Yang Chen suddenly realized that he was too tolerant. Such a stunning beauty had been sleeping next to him for more than half a year, but he didn't even try to test her. He was fully deserving of the title of Lu Xiaohui. The dark corridor was quiet. Yang Chen made sure that Mother Wang and Hui Lin wouldn't suddenly appear. Then he walked to the door of Lin Ruashi's room and gently turned the doorknob. To Yang Cheng's surprise, Lin Ruashi's door wasn't locked. Chapter 368. In fact, Yang Cheng wasn't sure if Lin Ruashi had the habit of locking the door to sleep, but at this moment, he wouldn't think too much about it. The most important thing was that he could justifiably directly open the door and enter. Gotcha! The sound of the door opening was so subtle that ordinary people wouldn't be able to hear it. Yang Cheng tiptoed into the room and gently closed the door. As soon as he entered the room, his mouth and nose were filled with the fragrance of a woman. Lin Ruashi's body had a faint fragrance similar to that of a gardenia, which made Yang Cheng take a deep breath in satisfaction. Yang Cheng was a little regretful. The first night they met, when he was entangled with this woman in his small rented house, how could he be muddle-headed? If he was in a clear-headed state, it would be such an enjoyable thing. But fortunately, the two of them were fated to go all the way until now, and their relationship had become a lot better. Even if it was a tiger's den, he still broke into it. Because there was no light in the room, the whole place was dark, but with Yang Cheng's eyesight, even if there was a trace of light, he could roughly see the room. The whole of Lin Ruashi's boudoir was actually filled with large pieces of soft, warm colors: pink, light yellow, light blue, and also red and white with spots. There were all kinds of cartoon patterns on the bedding, bed sheets, pillows. Although the layout was similar to Yang Cheng's own room, the entire color was the color that a little girl full of hazy love fantasies liked, which was completely incompatible with Lin Ruashi's cold appearance. But thinking about it, women who liked to watch mushy Korean dramas would always have such a romantic plot. It was just that they usually had to put on a cold appearance to kill those who had thoughts about her. The tour of the room wasn't the main point. Yang Cheng paid attention to whether there was anyone on the spacious double bed. After taking 2 steps closer, Yang Cheng was stunned. There was no one on the bed? Before Yang Cheng could figure out why Lin Ruashi wasn't in her room, he heard footsteps coming from the corridor outside. Listening to the direction of the footsteps, they should be coming to this room. Yang Cheng immediately thought that it should be Lin Ruashi, so he walked back to his room. Of course, Yang Cheng would not foolishly hide or just walk out. He had made up his mind to come in here tonight. Wasn't it because he wanted to try being a man with his real wife? Yang Cheng almost instantly decided that even if Lin Ruashi resisted, he would grit his teeth and subdue her. In any case, their feelings for each other had gradually become clearer. In the future, they should be able to let go of their reservations. Therefore, Yang Cheng's figure flashed and stood at the side of the door. He quietly waited for Lin Ruashi to open the door and come in, so he could give her a passionate hug. As the footsteps approached, Yang Cheng's heartbeat sped up. Even though he had long been accustomed to the affairs between men and women and was incomparably experienced, when he thought about the magnificent feat that he might be able to accomplish tonight, he was still as excited as a little boy who had his first love. Gotcha! The door was finally opened. A delicate figure came in from the outside, one hand groping for the light switch on the wall, wanted to turn on the lights in the room. Yang Cheng didn't give Lin Ruashi a chance. Some things were much easier to do in the dark. Almost at the moment when Lin Ruashi was about to turn on the lights, Yang Cheng had already turned around quickly and went behind Lin Ruashi. His 2 arms were like entangled vines, tightly hugging Lin Ruashi's chest and lower abdomen. "My dear little Ruashi, you're finally back." Yang Cheng leaned close to Lin Ruashi's ear and laughed. Lin Ruoshi's delicate body trembled violently the moment Yang Cheng's figure flashed past. Obviously, she was startled when Yang Cheng's pair of arms suddenly hugged her chest and abdomen. Lin Ruoshi's body immediately stiffened, and she didn't dare to move at all. Yang Cheng's left arm gently rubbed against Lin Ruoshi's chest in enjoyment, and said with a little surprise, "Hey, Ruoshi baby, your chest isn't as big as it looks, but it's very soft and very comfortable." Just as he finished speaking, Yang Cheng sniffed and frowned. "That's not right. Did you spray some perfume? Why does it smell different from your previous scent?" But it doesn't matter. It also smells very good. A little orchid smell, right?" Yang Cheng went around Lin Ruoshi's fragrant shoulder, moved to the side of her tender cheek, and kissed the woman's sensitive earlobe. The cold and delicate touch made Yang Cheng enjoy the breath of hot air. In Yang Cheng's arms, Lin Ruoshi completely softened, and she was even shivering. Just as Yang Cheng was about to continue to rub Lin Ruoshi's soft chest, a sobbing voice said, Brother Yang, don't do this. I'm Hui Lin." When the Lin Ruoshi in his arms said this faintly, it was Yang Cheng's turn to completely stiffen. "Hui Lin." Yang Cheng suddenly released his arms from Hui Lin's arms and dodged to the side. Without Yang Cheng's embrace, Hui Lin's body went limp, and she almost fell down. Fortunately, she held onto the door frame, and with one hand on her chest, she panted tenderly. Without saying anything, Yang Cheng stepped forward and pressed the light switch, lighting up the room. After taking a closer look, it was indeed Hui Lin. Where was this Lin Ruoshi? At this moment, Hui Lin was only wearing a thin white cotton nightgown. Under the loose nightgown, her petite and exquisite figure exuded a youthful beauty that was completely different from Lin Ruoshi's. The poor girl, who had long been scared out of her wits, blushed, and her watery eyes were filled with spring water. She didn't even dare to raise her head to look at Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng looked at Hui Lin awkwardly, then looked at his left hand and clenched it. The softness that he had pinched just now was actually Hui Lin's. No wonder the size was completely wrong, and the smell was completely different from Lin Ruoshi's body fragrance in the room. He must have been possessed by his sperm. He couldn't even tell such an obvious difference. Looking at Hui Lin's aggrieved and bashful expression, Yang Cheng felt like killing himself. Previously, he had tried all sorts of excuses to Abbas Yin Miao, saying that he wouldn't do anything to Hui Lin, and even said in front of Hui Lin that he only treated her as his younger sister. Never did he expect that he would hug her, touch her, and most damningly, kiss her. He had taken liberties with her. Although it was just a mistake, he couldn't just let it go so easily. After a long silence, Yang Cheng couldn't help but ask, Hui Lin, don't cry. Let's straighten things out. Why did you come to this room?" Hui Lin bit her thin lips, and the blush on her face didn't fade. She lowered her eyes and said in a soft voice, "Sister came to my room and took a box of Korean drama DVDs. She wanted to watch it with me in my room. She said that she wanted to sleep at my place and talk about the plot with me. She also wanted to take a shower in my room, so I brought her a set of pajamas." Yang Cheng was speechless. He looked into Lin Ruoshi's room, and he wasn't sure if it was for a better rest, but Lin Ruoshi's room didn't have any TV or DVDs. Hui Lin's room used to be a guest room, and it was well equipped, so it was normal for Lin Ruoshi to watch in her room. "It's already so late, and you still want to watch Korean dramas?" Yang Cheng smiled bitterly. Hui Lin pouted. "Sister specially bought the DVDs so that we can watch it together after we finish watching it on TV." Yang Cheng cursed the damn TV station in his heart. "Can't you just finish it already? My woman can't take it anymore and started to buy DVDs to watch it. Also, are Korean dramas that good? So bad that Lin Ruoshi didn't even have the time to walk away to grab a set of pajamas." But this wasn't the main problem at hand. The main problem was how to explain to Hui Lin all these stupid things that he had done. "Hui Lin, don't be angry. I know." Hui Lin didn't let Yang Cheng continue and said, "I know that Brother Yang treats me as your sister. I'm fine." Yang Cheng felt even more apologetic when he heard Hui Lin's words. But since he had already done it, He couldn't just pretend that nothing had happened. Wouldn't that make him a hooligan? Why don't we do this? Yangqing thought for a while and said, Hui Lin, slap me and call me a hooligan, bastard, or something like that. This way, you can treat it as if I did something bad to you, and you slapped me. Hui Lin's heart was pounding, full of shyness and grievance. But after hearing Yang Cheng's suggestion, she couldn't help but giggle. She looked at Yang Cheng reproachfully. Brother Yang, what kind of lousy idea is this? I won't do that. I'm not blaming you. You didn't do it on purpose. If it wasn't on purpose, then it would be depressing. Yang Cheng screamed at his heart. Why am I so unlucky? It wasn't easy for me to muster up the courage to have sex in the middle of the night, but instead of my wife, I touched my sister-in-law. But what made Yang Cheng even more depressed was not over yet. Just as he was talking to Hui Lin, Lin Ruoxi, who had been waiting in Hui Lin's room for a while and didn't see Hui Lin return, felt that something was wrong. She thought that Hui Lin couldn't find the place where she put her pajamas, or there was some other problem. After pausing the show, she finally walked away from the TV with difficulty and walked back to her room. Yang Cheng and Hui Lin heard Lin Ruoxi's footsteps as she walked back to her room, but at the same time, they couldn't do anything about it. Yang Cheng wouldn't break the glass and jump down from the window just because of this, but there was nothing he could hide in Lin Ruoxi's room. Therefore, when Lin Ruoxi walked to the door of the room, she looked up and saw Yang Cheng, who had a strange expression on his face, and Hui Lin, who looked panicked and flushed. Lin Ruoxi was slightly confused at first, but when she saw the unusual expression on Hui Lin's face, she smelled something else. Why are you here? Lin Ruoxi frowned and asked Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng wanted to explain, but he couldn't think of a reason. There was no reason for him to come to Lin Ruoxi's room. Sure enough, Lin Ruoxi didn't expect Yang Cheng to explain anything to her. Her pair of beautiful eyes gradually became like a 1,000-year-cold lake, making Yang Cheng's scalp go numb and his bones turn cold. Why? Can't you explain? Lin Ruoxi sneered and asked. Yang Cheng held it in for a long time, and then he smiled embarrassedly and said, We're husband and wife. Hee, your husband just wanted to see how you were sleeping. That's not too much, right? Lin Ruoxi seemed to have guessed that Yang Cheng would use their relationship as a husband and wife to explain. She asked again, What about Hui Lin? Don't tell me that when you looked at Hui Lin's ears turned red? Hui Lin's head was almost buried in her chest. She quietly moved behind Lin Ruoxi and didn't dare to say a word. Yang Cheng scratched his head. He really didn't know how to explain. He wasn't a soft persimmon that could be pinched by anyone. Therefore, he let go of his courage and said loudly, To tell you the truth, your husband wanted to force himself on you tonight. But the bow wasn't here, and I accidentally thought that the crossbow was a bow and touched it. But don't worry, I didn't shoot an arrow, so the crossbow is still a crossbow. Don't be angry at the bow. If others heard this, they would definitely be confused. But Lin Ruoxi was a smart woman, combining Hui Lin's expression and Yang Cheng's character. How could she not understand what was going on? Lin Ruoxi was infuriated when she saw Yang Cheng's shameless face, as if he didn't care even if she hit or scolded him. Force himself on me. Does this guy only know how to think of such crooked ways? She had already taken the initiative to be nice to him. Couldn't he use a more open and honest way to communicate with her? What kind of husband would sneak into his wife's bed in the middle of the night and force himself on her? In fact, it was reasonable for Lin Ruoxi to think that way. But she neglected the pressure she was giving Yang Cheng. They had been married for more than half a year. She had always been cold to Yang Cheng and didn't give him any chance to get close to her. How would Yang Cheng dare to go against her? Therefore, taking an unconventional approach became Yang Cheng's way of thinking. He didn't even consider that Lin Ruoxi would agree to sleep with him. What was worse was that Yang Cheng's plan changed completely because of Hui Lin's appearance. Lin Ruoxi treated Hui Lin as her younger sister. Now that her younger sister had a vague relationship with her husband, how could Lin Ruoxi not be angry? Get out. Don't ever come to my room again. Lin Ruoxi suppressed her anger and said coldly and expressionlessly. Yang Chung could tell that Lin Ruoshi was really angry. He regretted speaking so rudely. Even if that was what he really thought, he should have been more tactful. Ruoshi, get out. Lin Ruoshi glared at Yang Chung. She was so angry that her shoulders were trembling. Yang Chung was helpless. He knew that he could only talk to her after she calmed down. Otherwise, it would be useless. Yang Chung walked back to his room dejectedly, leaving Lin Ruoshi and Hui Lin standing at the door. The two women didn't speak for a long time. Finally, Hui Lin said meekly, "Sister, I'm sorry." Lin Ruoshi closed her eyes and said, "You don't have to be like this. I know it's not your fault. Actually, all right, you don't have to explain. I really don't blame you. I'm a little tired and want to rest early. You should go and sleep too," Lin Ruoshi said and walked to her bed. She started to spread her blanket. Hui Lin was surprised. She wanted to ask Lin Ruoshi if she still wanted to watch Korean dramas. But on second thought, she knew that Lin Ruoshi wouldn't be in the mood. With complicated bitterness in her heart, Hui Lin said, "Good night, sister." Then, she went back to her room to rest. After Hui Lin left, Lin Ruoshi collapsed on the bed. She looked at the ceiling and muttered to herself, "Lin Ruoshi, even I'm starting to hate you." Chapter 369. After the farcical experience, Yang Chung didn't dare to look at Lin Ruoshi's expression the next morning. It wasn't that Yang Chung was shy, but he felt that what he did was rather childish. Not only was it childish, he even failed. He was so embarrassed. Lin Ruoshi acted as though nothing had happened as she continued to chew on her food. That was the only good thing about being an iceberg. You couldn't tell if she was happy, angry, sad, or joyful at all. The most depressed and nervous person was Hui Lin. Sandwiched between the two of them, she didn't know what to do. Last night, Yang Chung touched her body and kissed her earlobe. Hui Lin's body was burning hot, and her heart was itching. She couldn't sleep for the whole night. Ever since she was young, she had been brought up by Abbas and Miao. She had planned to be a nun for the rest of her life. Who knew that her grandma would force her into this family and force her to get close to Yang Chung to consummate her marriage? Initially, when Hui Lin saw the complicated relationship between Yang Chung and Lin Ruoshi, she felt that it was better for her to stay out of it. But now, it was hard for her to stay out of it, even if she wanted to. Hui Lin knew that even though she said that she didn't mind, she still cared a lot about it. After all, she grew up with a traditional education. In the past, she hadn't even let a man touch her finger. But last night, she was kissed, hugged, and touched. How could Hui Lin say that she didn't care? But that man was her brother-in-law. The troubled Hui Lin didn't eat much porridge in the morning. She put down her bowl and chopsticks. She didn't have any appetite. Mother Wang asked concernedly, "Hui Lin, are you feeling unwell? Why did you eat so little?" Hui Lin shook her head. "No, Mother Wang, I'm just not hungry. I'm fine." "Oh," Mother Wang nodded doubtfully. She probably knew that young people always had all kinds of troubles, so she didn't ask further. Just when Hui Lin's body felt stiff and uncomfortable sitting on the chair, the doorbell rang. "I'll drive it." As if she had found a way out, Hui Lin immediately ran to open the door for the guest. Yang Chung and Lin Ruoshi looked at each other and saw that Lin Ruoshi's eyes were as cold as frost. Yang Chung rubbed his nose. He felt that it was better not to look at this woman in the eye. It would take at least a week for him to thaw a little. "Who is it? Why are you here so early in the morning?" Mother Wang asked in confusion. Yang Chung shrugged and casually said, "Who knows? It might be someone coming to pay a New Year's greeting." Hui Lin opened the door gently. She had a relaxed smile on her face, but when she saw the person standing at the door, the smile on Hui Lin's face immediately disappeared. Her mouth was wide open and her eyes were filled with disbelief. There were two old people standing outside the door. To be precise, it was an old man and an old lady who looked like a servant. The old man was wearing a thick vermilion tang suit, a pair of black horse pants, and a pair of black and white handmade cloth shoes. His grayish-white hair was neatly combed at the back of his head. There were many age spots and amiable wrinkles on his face. His body seemed to be a little crooked, or perhaps he wasn't tall to begin with. He looked thin and petite. The old lady behind him was wearing a gray cotton gown that looked like it was from the era of the Republic of China. She looked amiable and her hair was all white, but she seemed to be in good spirits. When the old man saw Hui Lin, it was as if he had seen his own granddaughter. He smiled, and more wrinkles appeared on his face. He looked at Hui Lin kindly and asked, "You're the last from the Lin family, right? You're already so big." Hui Lin was finally sure that she didn't recognize the wrong person. She quickly took 3 steps back and bowed solemnly and excitedly. She bowed at 90 degrees twice. Chairman, nice to meet you." Hui Lin's strange behavior immediately attracted the attention of the other 3 people in the room. Why did she suddenly bow? Who was it? The old man waved his hand and said warmly, "I quit that job a long time ago. Don't be like this. I'm here early in the morning. Did I disturb your breakfast?" "Yes, I did." "Oh, no. No, I didn't." Hui Lin almost told the truth. Her face turned red, and she was so anxious that she didn't know what to say. The old man chuckled. "Don't be nervous. I'm not a man-eating old monster." Hui Lin thought to herself, how can I not be nervous? Even though he had never seen his grandmother more than 3 times since he was young, he would never dare to forget the face of this old lady. This was one of the founders of Huaxia, the descendant of the founding fathers of the country. Even though Hui Lin had been practicing martial arts in Amei and rarely returned to Beijing, she could tell how powerful this old man was just by listening to Abbess Yun Miao's occasional stories. In the Politburo of the Central Committee, other than the chairman, almost everyone had some sort of relationship with this old man, not to mention the other provincial level and ministerial level officials. Perhaps 1 out of 3 ministerial level officials would be willing to address this old man as master. Even though the Lin family was a big family with a long history in Beijing, compared to this old man who had pushed them to the top, they could only be considered as second-rate. If it wasn't for the era when this old man could summon the wind and summon the rain, internet media had not yet developed and television was considered a rarity in Huaxia. This old man's limelight would definitely be as eye-catching as the great men of the century. Unfortunately, the era was different. So after this old man retired, almost no young people could remember this person. Even if they did, they could only vaguely remember his silhouette. After all, Hui Lin wasn't some otherworldly expert. She was just a greenhorn and naive little girl. Of course, she was shocked and scared when she saw the real mastermind of the country. Even though your grandfather and I are quite different in age, we could be considered as peers. If you don't think it's appropriate to call me anything else, just call me Grandpa Yang. Yang Gongming smiled when he saw that Hui Lin didn't know what to say. Hui Lin replied softly, "Yes, Grandpa Yang." Regarding Yang Gongming's sudden arrival, Hui Lin thought that he was here to speak up for his grandson, Yang Lai. So, she looked at Yang Cheng worriedly. Unexpectedly, Yang Gongming walked towards Yang Cheng with a smile on his face. Using a slow and gentle tone, he said, "Young man, you don't have to look at me like that. Let's eat breakfast. I was in a hurry, and I always wake up early, so I came here early. If you have any questions, let's talk after breakfast." Yang Cheng's hearing was very good. He had heard Hui Lin calling him chairman. After thinking about it carefully, he realized that with Hui Lin's position as the granddaughter of the Lin family, the only person who needed to bow and call her chairman was the chairman of the National People's Congress in Huaxia. This position was similar to the Speaker of the United States Congress. Although it was not as prominent as the President or the Prime Minister, it was often the key to the overall situation and the formulation of national policies. However, although Yang Cheng had seen news, he had never seen this old man. He must be the old chairman who had retired. Facing such an old man who was a national leader and called himself Grandpa Yang, how could Yang Cheng not know who this old man was? Looking at the old man who had a face full of vicissitudes of life and was leisurely looking at the decorations of the villa with a smile, Yang Cheng smiled bitterly. There was nowhere to hide. He had thought that it was a joke to have a father who was a military commander, but his father was a national leader. He had not seen any of his relatives for the past 20 years. It had only been a year since he returned to China. Why were there so many big shots related to him? When Lin Ruoxi saw Yang Gongming, she was confused for a while. Then, She recognized who this old man was, not to mention Mother Wong, who was much older than her. Mother Wong, who was a little timid, had lost her appetite. She looked around and didn't know what to say. She just gave an excuse that she was going to the kitchen to boil water and ran away. Lin Ruoshi thought for a moment. She knew where Yang Gongming came from. Thinking about the incident with Yang Lai a few days ago and Yang Cheng's reaction, Lin Ruoshi vaguely felt that this big shot should have a great relationship with Yang Cheng. However, the more she thought about it, the more unbelievable Lin Ruoshi felt. Both of them had the surname Yang. Could it be that such a man was a member of the top family in Huaxia after the founding of the country? Was this a joke? If it was true, wouldn't he be the legendary crown prince? Lin Ruoshi frowned and secretly looked at Yang Cheng. He was not much different from when he was selling mutton skewers.